for March 14, 2023. If you wish to speak today, please stand and raise your right hand. Please stand. Are you going to be speaking? Do you swear and affirm to speak the truth at today's hearing? Thank you. Please silence all electronic devices.
Good morning. Our first case is on page 34. Inspector Bernstein Sambert, case number CE 22040885, case address 1616 Northwest 6th Avenue, owner Michael Jendrasic. This case was first heard 10/11/22 to comply by 11/15/22. One suspension from 1/26/23 to 2/9/23. Three sections complied at $50 per day, $6,800 accrued. The city is requesting the full amount.
No, Your Honor. Turn on
the mic. Good morning.
Morning.
Bernstein Sambert, City of Lauderdale Community Enhancement, case number CE 22040885, property address 1616 Northwest 6th Ave. As of today, all violations are in compliance. I would like to enter the photos as evidence that show violations as depicted. The city is requesting full amount. This was a case where what's her name, ma'am? Where Joanne couldn't speak at the last hearing, but we did an extension for her, and she did comply all the violation within that extension. It's unfortunate there is a fines on there, but the city is requesting full amount.
Okay. So I'm looking at the different pictures right now, right? Okay. Tell me who you are, please. Your name? I need you to come by the microphone if you can. He's going to help you with it in a second.
Okay. Hi, I'm here to ask for a reduction.
First, I need to know your name.
Oh, Joanne Smith. I'm
Okay.
here speaking for Michael Jendrasic.
And who is he to you?
Michael's a longtime friend, like a son.
Okay. What's wrong? You okay?
Sorry.
It's all right. Take your time.
Yeah, we did not get any of these notices because the kids in our neighborhood are famous for ripping all these things. They see something taped, they tape it. And
Take your time.
but I've been the president for many years of that association.
I can't understand you. You got to compose yourself. Take your time.
Okay, I've been the president many years for South Middle River, and we would never not fix anything that we knew needed to be fixed. And Michael's mom has dementia, and he's working extra to get help for her, and he's based in Brazil. So we really did not know what was going on. But when we spoke to Mr. Carl and he explained everything, we got on it the minute we had and fixed it to the. And so we would like to know if we could have a reduction in the funds, because it's very hard to spend all the money on the house plus take care of his mother and everything. So we're asking for a reduction.
Okay, this isn't set for a reduction. Now, what is this? I'm not sure.
So, Your Honor, for the record, Rhonda Montoya Hassan with the City Attorney's Office. Since the case is in compliance, Your Honor, the city is requesting the full amount of fines, as the inspector stated, but at this point, you can resolve the fine issue here today, and you have obviously the discretion to either impose the full amount or a partial amount or waive the fines, or impose administrative costs. It's up to you.
Okay, do we know what the administrative costs are for this?
$812.16.
Okay, and how long did these violations persist? October 5?
Um,
No, that's compliance date.
Yes,
Oh, I see,
unfortunately,
it's 63 days, 16 days.
yes, I believe the owner is, I spoke to him many times, but he's a pilot, so it's kind of hard for him to get things done. So he has Joanne to kind of help him out. So that's, I believe, that's what made the time frame, longer than expected. As soon as Joanne got a touch of hold of it, she get the ball rolling and she started to, make sure things get going.
He's a pilot for what, like a national airline?
Yeah, he's all over. That's what he told me, and Joanne's pretty much taking care of things for him.
Okay. So it's, the house has been painted, there's sod?
Yes,
everything's
correct.
everything's in compliance?
Correct.
All right. So the most, some of these were about 2 months, it looks like, right?
That's about right.
Okay. Yet the city still seeks the $6,800.
$812.16.
No, I mean, for the total fine is $6,800, and that's what the.
Correct. 6,800.
Okay.
Ma'am, is this a rental property?
Yeah, we have rented it, yes, to pay for the repairs. He was getting ready to move home, but he can't with his mother in Georgia. He has to keep working, and she won't move, so.
Okay, well, I won't impose the full fine, but I'm gonna impose one half of it. If he's got money to be a pilot, and he's got money to rent a house, he's got money to pay the fines that persisted because of the condition of the property. The property was not well kept, but it's fixed, I understand that. So I'm not gonna charge, ask the city wants $6,800, I will impose $3,400, including the costs. So of that $3,400, $800, no matter what, would have to be paid for his time. So if you need 30 days to pay that or longer, do you know?
Yeah, he's just a flight attendant. He's gonna have to, how long can we have to pay it?
Okay, he's a flight attendant or a pilot?
He's a flight attendant.
Okay. Okay. Well, do you want, how much time can I give them to pay? Lowen?
Your Honor, typically, for these type of orders, there's no time to pay. She'll get a bill, and she'll have the 30 days to pay, and then thereafter, the moves through collection process and lien process after that.
So I can't give like a time within which to pay?
You don't need to. You can, but you don't need to.
Okay. Well, do you need time to pay it?
Yes, please.
Okay, I can give you 60 days to pay it. How is that?
From the time we get the bill?
Right? The time she gets the bill, right? Not from today.
Or from
It's from the
today?
date of the order, which would be today, Your Honor.
Okay, so it'll be from starting today.
Okay. And how much was it again?
3,400, which is half of what the city is seeking.
3,400. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Next case, page 42, also Inspector Bernstein Sandberg, case number CE 22080642, case address 538 Northwest 15th Avenue, owner Mark Lip Investments LLC. This case was first heard 1/11/23 to comply by 1/21/23. One section complied at $250 per day, $11,500 accrued. City is requesting the full amount.
Good morning, Bernstein Sandberg, City of Lauderdale Community Enhancement, case number CE 22080642. Property address 538 Northwest 15th Ave. This property was first heard on Special Magistrate January 12, 2023, where Special Magistrate Ambrose ordered 10 days to comply. As of today, 1812A is complied. For the record, this is a recurrent violation. Previous case number CE 21020736 and case number CE 22040548. This case will be presented to the special magistrate seeking a finding of fact, whether or not the violation complies prior to the hearing date. A pre-hearing inspection revealed the violation stated is in compliance. I would like to enter the photos as evidence that show violations as completed. The city is requesting full imposition.
All right, this is for 538 Northwest 15th Avenue.
Correct.
And this is the third time it's come before magistrates?
There was two other cases. that were overgrowth, trash, and debris. They got complied, but they never reached the special magistrate section. So now this one did reach special magistrate. So we just stating the fact that the other two violations did exist, and they were for the same violation, and we're gonna request a finding of fact for the previous two violations that were the same violations.
Okay, but what are you asking for today for me?
Full imposition,
Of the fine is 11,500?
correct.
Okay, yes.
Good morning. We are asking for a
Tell
reduction.
me who you are, please.
I'm Christy Armada, attorney on behalf of Marglib Investments, the owner. I have been engaged to represent the property owner. He owns the property adjacent to this, he has a code enforcement case for that matter for, he has to redo the roof. The roof is under, he's gotten a permit, it's under construction. He did not appear at the previous special magistrate hearing or was unaware of this complaint because he misunderstood and assumed that those notices were for the existing violation for the property adjacent. Since becoming aware, we have hired someone to pass by the property every other day or every 2 days to confirm that there is no trash. He has not ignored this property. He does regularly clean up. It's just, it is in an area of town where there is a lot of illegal dumping and trash is thrown on his property regularly. We have increased the frequency within which it will be cleaned up. I have given the inspector my contact information so I could be immediately on contact and send someone out if there is a problem. We have the mechanism in place to be more attentive to this. So that being said, we're asking for a reduction.
Okay, you're seeing these pictures, how egregious this is. Look at this.
I do understand, but I am asking for leniency because it is not him doing this. I understand it's
No, I
still
get
our
that.
responsibility.
I get that it's not, that he didn't do it, but as a property owner, no
Right.
matter what happens, the property owner is responsible to take care of his or her property, no matter who does what to it. If they do dumping, they didn't do it, we get that, but they're responsible to remove it. That's just the way it is to live in an urban area.
I agree.
And the problem I've got is that this is the third time it's been here. So I'm not in a mood to give leniency to somebody that just doesn't seem to get the message.
I do understand, but he is regularly taking care of it. It's just the frequency within which it's happening. He kind of lost control of it. However, as I've said, we've put in a mechanism in place so that there will be we will have somebody go by every day or every 2 days at the maximum, and I am in constant contact with the inspectors moving
It
forward.
looks like it's going to have to be daily to deal with it, because if it comes back, it's going to be worse. And again, nobody's here to punish anybody. It's here to get code compliance. So I want people to know, it's not about the fines or the money. It's about getting to comply with the code. So the neighborhood doesn't have to look like this. And I know he didn't do it, but he's got to stay on top of it. Yes, sir.
Special Magistrate Julio, like a code compliance supervisor. There's other violations existing at this property. We've had a lot of trouble obtaining compliance, not just with this matter, but with other matters at this property. And I understand you're trying to put efforts towards compliance, but we even passed by the property yesterday and, it's starting to get bad again. It's just a continual problem. And, I'm glad that the council is providing her contact information or the owner's contact information for us to reach out. But really, it should be them proactively monitoring the property, as she states that she's gotten someone to be able to do this. Code enforcement doesn't want to be out at these properties, doesn't want to cite anyone. What we want is voluntary compliance, as you know.
Sure.
So just to reiterate, we're opposed to any reduction, but it's up to you, of course.
Okay, under the circumstances, if this was the first time, I'd be willing to entertain a reduction. For a third time, no. I just don't see it, that's possible. And I don't want to see it come back here. As you can tell the client, don't come back before me, because it will impose very high fines until he gets the message. Coming every other day is not going to work. He's going to probably have to have somebody monitored on a daily basis. I get people do bad things, but that's what happens when you have property, like I just said, in any urban area, no matter where you are, people do graffiti on your property, you didn't do it, but you're responsible to clean it. That's just the way the law is. And code violations, as you know, are required to be honored by the property owner. So I cannot reduce this.
I understood. I understood and acknowledged. I just want, he's buying these properties, he's bought a few in the area, with the intention of trying to redevelop them and make the neighborhood a better place. That he's suffering because of the vandalism and the lack of assistance from his perspective that he is receiving on these properties. It's a problem. And then I don't know how motivated he's going to be to continue trying to, I think at this point he wants to list them and be done with it because it's a problem he cannot get his hands around.
Okay, well, I mean, seeing this, for this particular, I don't know what the other violations are, but this is just to pick up trash. How hard is that to have somebody come in there,
Well,
even a kid, to pick up trash at a couple dollars an hour on a daily basis? That's not hard. So if he's not able to take care of this property, I'm not sure he's qualified to deal with the other properties. He'll know what he can do, but I'm not gonna give him a break when he's doing other violations as well.
I have a question for council. What are the plans for that property? It's been sitting like kind of like vacant and seemingly like abandoned. It's in disrepair. What, are there any plans to develop it? Are there?
He's currently fixing it right now. There is I acknowledge that the neighboring property, not this one, has it has a code case because of its disrepair, and he is actively renovating it. He's fixing it.
Does he have permits? He's already applied for the permits?
Yes.
He's gone through DRC and all of that to develop it, or?
I don't think that
he's-
DRC was necessary, but
Okay,
permits
he's-
for to correct, to
He's
fix,
just
to repair.
renovating then, okay, I got you. All right, then, so what's the time frame? Is there a time frame? Because a lot of these, sometimes when these properties sit in this repair like this, it attracts these types of nuisances and violations because individuals know that no one's out there taking care of them. What's the time frame on the correction of those repairs?
I don't know. I don't have that information and I don't want to misspeak, but I did check with him this morning to confirm that the repairs were underway.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, so the city's seeking a finding of fact for the prior two cases, correct? All right, and then I'm not gonna reduce the fine, again, because of the history, I just can't just say, okay.
Just finding a recurrent violation.
I'm sure everybody,
not those two.
many of the code enforcement officers know his name, and I have been in regular contact with many of them over the last month or so. I am sure that they will all attest to the fact that there are several emails and several efforts to come into compliance, correct all of the fines, correct all of the complaints. This isn't a man who is sitting on his hands. He is a person who is actively working towards.
Well, you just heard Mr. Davila, the supervisor, say he was out there the other day, and it's messy again.
But if you ask Inspector Bernstein, he will tell you that at the end of last week, we cleaned it and we complied. It's 3 days later. And we'll have somebody out there today, now that I know that it's messy again. But as of Friday, I was speaking with the inspector and he had told me it was clean.
Okay, well, again, one day being clean, the next day is gonna be treated the same as every day. You can't clean it one day and say, okay, and we get this.
I
The
do
neighborhood will
understand.
never turn around if they just don't stay on top of it. So if you're not, if he's not able to handle the investment he's making in these things, then you're right, maybe he needs to get somebody that can. But if he's gonna stay here, he's going to have to do it and be on time. So I can't give him a reduction,
Understood. Thank you.
okay? No reduction as for the 11,500 is requested, and the finding of fact for the two prior cases. There were two different incidents. That's all I'm doing, right?
Yeah, today,
Okay.
Your Honor, it's just the imposition of fine. The finding of fact would occurred when the case was first heard.
Okay, all right.
Next case, page 45, Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr., case number CE 22090712, case address 1217 Northwest 6th Street, owner Wright Dynasty LLC. This case was first heard 1/11/23 to comply by 3/14/23, 2 sections not complied at $50 per day. Fine start at 3/15/23. This is in order to reappear.
Good morning, Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr. on behalf of the city, case and address as read. This case was first heard on January 11th, 2023. The magistrate ruled in favor of the city, and the property owner was ordered to correct the violations at this property and a mandatory reappearance for today's hearing. Pre-hearing inspection was conducted on 3/7/23. The violations do remain. There aren't any active permits on file as of yet. I have been in contact with the property owner. He's been very communicative on the process. They're gonna be demolishing this property and doing construction, so it's kind of a long process. They're gonna be going through permitting and everything, so he's gonna show, basically their timeline on, time they're gonna need. At this point, the city's just asking for 28 days, speaking with my supervisor, for them to be able to obtain, their first permits at least, so that they can get permits, and then a mandatory reappearance again to update us again. Because it's this case, there's 3 folios, so it's this case and there's 2 other cases that are also on this agenda, and they're all for the same owner.
Okay. So you're not, the fines would otherwise start tomorrow. You're saying you want to defer those?
Yeah, we want to defer it
For
for another
28 days.
28 days to give him more time so that he can get some permits
And then would
started.
the fine start then on the 29th day if they're not done, or what's gonna happen? I need to know
I'll ask my supervisor.
oh, he'll reappear?
A reappearance, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Dennis Wright. I am the property owner and developer for this project. This project is a CRA-approved project to do a mixed-use building located at 1223 Northwest 6th Trump. The project is at a point where we're getting ready to pull a demolition permit. Well, that demolition permit will include the demolition of the existing building as well as the site clearing to start construction. I provided a timeline for code enforcement, as well as if I needed to submit it today, I can submit it today as well. But as of right now, to show progress towards pulling that demolition permit, we have completed the asbestos survey. We have completed the phase 1 environmental survey. The demolition drawings will be completed by the end of this week. And then we will start applying for the application of disconnects for the property. The goal is to have the demolition permit by May 1st, and demolition to begin no later than June. And this is a picture of the project that's to go up on 6th Trunk.
For just this one site or all 3 sites?
All 3 lots are included on this project.
Okay, all right. Looks very nice if it comes to fruition. That's on Sistrunk?
That is on 6th Trunk, yes. It's a property that I inherited from my
28 days, he's not gonna get
grandparents.
all that done. You just wanna have him, we wanted to make sure that we're doing something, so.
Yeah, just to be able to show,
It's almost like a
the
status.
continual progress that he already has been, communicating to us.
Okay.
I think since he's saying May, where's the paper? 56 would be, 56 days would be adequate so that he can get that demolition permit and then a reappearance.
Okay, so 56 days takes us to what?
May 9th.
May 9th, okay. So that should get you to the point where you have what did you play? The permit will be obtained or the work will be done?
We would
by
have
May
a
1?
permit by that time.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, just to show that the permit's been
Yeah, the
approved.
demolition
Yeah.
permit.
Mhm.
But the
And then
intent is to
a
take the entire
reappearance.
building down, and clear the
Right.
site.
Clear the
Okay.
site for
All
construction,
right, so we'll give you
correct.
56 days to do that, defer the fines that would otherwise start tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
And in order to reappear, Your Honor.
And then you have to reappear.
Okay.
Okay.
And also, Your Honor, it would be the 2 other cases that we're
Yes.
going to get read
Yeah,
into
we're
the
gonna-
record
we're gonna
that'll
do
have
two
the
other cases
same
with it
order.
right now.
Okay.
Okay, the
All
other 2
right.
cases?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll read the next 2 cases, page 45. Also Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr., case number CE 22090725, case address 1219 Northwest 6th Street, owner Wright Dynasty LLC. This case was first heard 1/11/23 to comply by 3/14/23. One section not complied at $50 per day. Fines start 3/15/23. This is in order to reappear. Also, page 46, Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr., case number CE 22090729, case address 1223 Northwest 6th Street, owner Wright Dynasty LLC. This case was first heard 1/11/23 to comply by 3/14/23. One section not complied at $50 per day. Fines start 3/15/23, and this is in order to reappear.
Okay.
And same thing, Wilson
Okay,
Quintero
we're gonna do-
Jr. on behalf of the city, 56 days.
So identical orders for all three?
Yes, sir.
Okay? Identical orders for all three. All right, sir.
All right,
Good
thank
luck.
you.
It looks like a very nice project. Be welcome to the neighborhood, so we hope it comes forward.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next case, page 32. Inspector Pat Gavin, case number CE 23010656, case address 211 Northeast 16th Avenue, owner Natasha Quist. This case was cited 1/24/23 to comply by 1/25/23. One section complied at $200 per day. $3,800 accrued. The city is requesting the full amount. Appeal deadline 2/8/23. No appeal received.
Good morning, Pat Gavin, City of Fort Lauderdale Code Compliance, presenting case CE 23010656 for property located at 211 Northeast 16th Avenue. This property was cited on January 24th, 2023, and given 24 hours to comply for the following violation. 15-2787, the advertisement for this vacation rental property does not meet the ordinance requirements relating to occupancy, certificate number, and/or sexual predator verbiage. On January 25th, 2023, the violation remained and fines began to accrue. The violation at this property was brought into compliance on February 14th, 2023. This case was non-compliant for 20 days with a fine of $200 per day for a total of $4,000 currently due. The city is requesting the full imposition of fines in the amount of $4,000.
Sorry, it should be 3,800.
Okay, 3,800.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, your name and address?
Leanne Baptiste. I'm the property manager.
Okay. You didn't file on it, or whoever did this, didn't file an appeal of this.
So,
Rhonda, can I have you explain to the people so they know if they didn't do an appeal, what my limitation?
So pursuant to the code section that's applicable to citations, 11-19H, if a violator fails to timely request an administrative hearing, the violation is deemed admitted, and the special magistrate shall impose the associated fines. The code section makes that mandatory, and there's no discretion, unfortunately, on behalf of the magistrate, because it is deemed an admission if there is not a timely appeal.
Okay, my recollection is that the notices that are sent out are in big, bold letters in red. It's
That's
very
correct, sir.
clear
The-
about
on the
what
body
your
of-
rights are and how to exercise them.
Yes, sir. On the body of the citation on the front, it says the 15 days to appeal, and then it also explains on the back in larger, bold font where to file the appeal by email.
Okay. So I have really no authority, even if I chose to help you or the owner, to do anything, because an appeal was not timely filed.
okay, so within 24 hours, I emailed that I had corrected it. So I thought I was good to go. And the document says, upon completion of corrective action, you must contact code enforcement and send an email to see an enhancement. And I did send an email within the 24 hours. I didn't get a response back, but I didn't know I was supposed to. I thought if I didn't get a response, then it's handled. So I was under the impression I was under compliance and it was finished. Then I got the notice to come to court, and so I was surprised because I thought I had did what I was supposed to do. And then I called Inspector Gavin and I explained to him the issue because I didn't know that it was a flip key website. I didn't get the paper that indicated that. I only got this paper that says basically correct your issue. So I went to the accounts that I know are active, which is my Airbnb and VRBO, and I made sure those were good, and I wrote back to the email that I was instructed to email that I'm in compliance now.
Okay,
And
well, the point is though, now the fact that you're in compliance is certainly important to stop the clock on the fines. But you have 19 days that it was out there, as he's testified, and the fines accrued at $200 a day, it's $3,800. I can't reduce that. Is she able to seek a lien reduction for, there's a process to seek what's called a lien reduction.
Okay.
And you have to very carefully read what you have to do and timely do that. And those hearings are held here. So if it merits that and the city supports perhaps a reduction, I or the other magistrate may entertain that, but I can't do it today, as you just heard from the assistant city attorney.
Okay.
So it's $3,800 is due, but subject to seeking a lien reduction process, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Next case, page 31. Inspector Leonard Champagne, case number CE 22120671, case address 1101 Northeast 13th Avenue, numbers 1 and 2, owner Donna M. Grief. This case was cited 11823 to comply by 2223. One section complied at $200 per day, $800 accrued. The city is requesting the full amount. Appeal deadline 2223, no appeal received.
Good morning, Magistrate.
Yes, sir?
Leonard Champagne for the city for case number CE 22120671, address 1101 Northeast 13th Avenue. This property was cited on 11823 for violation 15281A. There is operation of a vacation rental with expired certificate of compliance at this location. One section was supposed to come into compliance by 2223. It did come into compliance on 27/2023. That was for 4 days at $200 per day for a fine of $800, and the city is requesting to be imposed.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, your name and address?
Donna Grief, 1101 Northeast 13th Avenue.
Okay, so you're the property owner?
Yes.
Okay, you heard what the assistant city attorney said, that you did not timely file an appeal.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm just explaining to you, I have no authority to reduce this amount.
Okay. Can I just say something now?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I assumed I would have everything done in time. I did the application, waited for it to be approved, which then you pay. You can't pay at the same time. I paid it, and then I had to wait for the inspector to call me. When he did call, I found out that I had to go to Odessa, Florida. My father, who was 90, was in the hospital, and I couldn't postpone it. We didn't know if we would make it. That's why when I got home, I was a few days late to do the inspection. I had done the application and paid the application fee, which are two separate processes, but I didn't finish the inspection. Also on my property, I normally don't have to have an inspection, but since my last application was not, I didn't pay it because you have to wait to get the email, and I never saw the email and then totally forgot. That's why I had to redo the whole thing. And if I hadn't had to do the inspection, I would have had everything done in time. And it was just because of my father. I don't know, I did tell Inspector Gavin, he knew the situation. So,
Okay.
I don't know, I thought,
Was this certificate renewed?
Unfortunately, Your Honor, I think it was just it was an operation of vacation with an expired certificate. But unfortunately, like you said, there was no appeal received, okay? And, you know, if there was no appeal received, okay, and then we give them time for 15 days, the whole idea of that is to work on that so you get your license so we can go out and inspect the property on time, so, you know. Or the biggest thing is, right in there, you can immediately take within 5 minutes, remove your ad.
remove what?
Okay, and that's why if you see the listings there, the listings would show the ad was up.
Okay, so again, as I spoke before you wanted to speak, I don't have an authority to reduce this. I suppose you could seek a lien reduction as well. I don't know, for $800, the cost of filing for the application to seek a lien reduction is probably going to eat into any possibility of
Yeah.
making this mitigated.
So there's no
I don't have the authority to do
reason
it.
that
You didn't
if
file an
something
appeal.
emergency comes up, it's
Your
not-
Honor, I'll be
it's
glad
not-
to talk to her about, she can, appeal or whatever. We can get the
Help-
binder
help guide her
and
how to
talk
do
to
it?
her about that if she likes.
You know,
You mean
and
the
I
lien
didn't
reduction?
do the appeal because it's on the original citation, and when I got that, which was a while ago, I didn't think there would be any reason to appeal, because I knew I would get everything done. I didn't know I was gonna have to go out of town for my father. And then when you get the notice, it doesn't say anything about appeal, which I didn't even know I could.
Because the time frame's already expired by the time you get the notice to
Yeah.
appear here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have to
and-
appeal once you receive the citation.
But there was no reason to appeal because I did need to do the application.
Again, Your
And I
Honor, I
thought
did
I'd
say
get it
appeal,
done.
but she can do a lien reduction hearing, not an appeal, and I can talk to her about how to
Okay.
do that.
How much does it cost to file for an application for a lien reduction? It'd be $175 even to seek that, but you might want to say that's
Yeah.
worth it to save, $625. So that's up to you. I can't do anything
Okay.
about it today. He can help guide you, give you the
Okay.
paperwork, and you might feel it's worth doing.
Okay, all right.
Okay, and we apologize for your loss.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, sir.
Next case, page 6, Inspector Dorian Cologne, case number CE 22100504, case address 3305 Northeast 16th Court, owner Glenn A. Kushner and Martha L. Kushner. This is a stipulated agreement. It was posted at City Hall, 2/28/23. Violations, 47-22.9, 42 days at $50. Violation 47-20.13.B.1.B, 42 days at $50. The owner is not in attendance, but we do have neighbors here who want to speak on behalf of the property.
Okay. Let's hear from the code inspector.
Good morning. Senior Inspector Cologne for the City of Fort Lauderdale. Case number is CE 22100504. Case address 3305 Northeast 16th Court. And yes, we do have a stipulated agreement that was completed by our code manager, Katrina Jordan. And basically, the neighbors are here. They want to read an impact statement and talk about what they feel, and for the record.
Okay, but the property owner is not here.
Excuse me?
Property owner is not present.
The property owner is not present, and we agreed on a stipulated agreement, which was mailed, certified, and completed and everything.
Okay. Yes, sir, your name and address?
Yes, my name is John Tiberio. I live at 3304 Northeast 16th Court, directly opposite the property. Good morning. I'm sure others here are going to address the overall look of the property. I wanted to discuss the issue of the owner's attempt to create a 5-car driveway and raise awareness of the prospective impact to the public right-of-way and our lawful street parking. The following well-documented incidents give us a clue as to what to expect from the future proposals to rectify the outstanding violations at this property. The homeowner wants 5 parking spaces in order to use the residence for rental purposes, and apparently will go to extraordinary means to achieve their goal, regardless of the impact to neighbors or the neighborhood. This concerns me as this is a very small house, so how many renters do they plan to have? Currently, I suspect that in future will be continued to use to store their company's workers' trucks, which are there even though the house is vacant. The property originally was a 1-car single driveway entrance and a proper curb sidewalk. The front yard had a 3-foot concrete wall along the sidewalk. The owner demolished this wall early in their renovations. They then removed the lawn and landscaping and created a 5-car parking lot. They added a large asphalt ramp in the right-of-way to help the vehicles get over the curb. This was cited by the city and then removed, and thank you for that. The owner then applied for a permit for a replacement sidewalk, which the city approved. After inspection, a second asphalt ramp was added back to the right-of-way. However, in reviewing the submitted survey, which I have here, for this work, it does not mention adding any asphalt to the right-of-way. More importantly, it does not show the current 5-car driveway. Instead, it showed the original owner's single-car driveway space and lawn. It even showed the 3-foot front yard concrete wall. Instead of seeing a 5-car driveway perpendicular to the sidewalk, the survey shows a wall parallel to the sidewalk. How could the city engineer make any proper valuation with the information provided? Upon complaining about the second asphalt ramp, we were told the owner was claiming it was for ADA compliance, which is comical given the gravel lawn. The asphalt ramp, along the appearance of the 5 driveways and multiple "do not block the driveway" signs, has enabled the owner to falsely claim there's no legal parking in front of their property, despite verification from the city's parking department to the contrary. Our neighborhood has a residential parking permit program which was put into place to reserve street parking for full-time residents because of our proximity to the beach. Today, approximately 25% of the neighbors' properties are vacation rentals. If any plans for this property are approved that do not preserve the parking space in front of the property for permit parking, it will set a precedence in the neighborhood that could jeopardize up to 40 street parking spaces. This would jeopardize the benefit of the residential parking permit program. When anybody parks a car in front of the property, even with a valid permit, the owner and her agents verbally threaten them to having their vehicle towed. Next, they'll call either parking enforcement or the city of Fort Lauderdale. Parking enforcement specialists show up and they're confused by the false claims of the owner, even after being shown letters from the city of Fort Lauderdale Parking Department that it's okay to park at that space. This is a deliberate and abusive waste of the city's resources and time to try to bully neighbors into adhering to the owner's personal interpretation of the city ordinances. I hope the owner's behavior over the past year is taken into consideration when determining whether the exception to code should be granted. Also, please look at the plans they will submit carefully to see if they could easily be modified after completion to create ambiguity to parking enforcement. Will it be clear what is driveway and what is sidewalk? My understanding of property code is that it limits changes to inside our property lines, and the right-of-way belongs to the city. In conclusion, I have 3 questions. Based on the misrepresentation of the property with the original sidewalk permit, can the sidewalk in addition of the asphalt ramp be reevaluated in the new overall plan to correct the violations of the 5-car parking space? If the owner is going to do all pavers as they have been delivered, will parking enforcement be able to tell driveway from sidewalk? Please consider these officers in your evaluation of any proposed plan, as they're stuck in the middle of this squabble. Lastly, and most importantly, can a homeowner have plans approved that eliminate street parking spots without any type of public hearing or notice to the neighborhood, as they would be the ones impacted? I would like to see if you guys can clarify this point today. On a personal note, besides the threats of towing and ticketing to myself and visitors to our property and neighbors, the owner sent one of her property managers to, quote, talk sense into me about dealing with my complaints to the city. When I refused, I was physically threatened. I forwarded that matter to the city of Fort Lauderdale's finest.
To who?
City, Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Right? In conclusion, all we're asking the city to do is make this property comply with existing codes and preserve the existing parking structure in the right-of-way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If I can add, what's the stipulated agreement provide?
I believe it was 42 days and $50 a day thereafter. And it's for the 47-20.13.B.1.B. The signs were removed, and that should have been complied. And as I stated earlier, the stipulated agreement was done. It was certified mail. Everything was taken care of. So at this point, it was an agreement. They just wanted to speak on behalf of how they felt about
Okay,
what was going
I'm
on.
trying to understand what's going on here. I see a big gravel drive, but now they're telling me pavers have been delivered.
Well, so basically when it started, I believe she had done like a work without permits, and the building department got involved. She had removed a sidewalk to make a driveway that she wanted to do. And she did have to put the sidewalk back, which she has. And then we got involved with the gravel. So in the beginning, the officer that went out had cited it for too much gravel, but he put the wrong code. I amended it. So originally the violation was found on 10/14/2022. I amended it on November 10th, 2022 to this correct violation. And that's where we're at. So the pavers, there is a building permit in process, and that's up to the building department as far as the scope of the work and what's going to be allowed. That's through zoning and building. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, do we know if this building can accommodate 5 vehicles? Is that authorized, or we don't know yet?
So the driveway obviously was not done with a permit, and she took up the whole yard. So our violation is for the maximum allowed amount of gravel that can be allowed to
But
make
it
a
sounds like
driveway.
But it sounds like she's moving away from gravel to put in pavers. Can she pave the whole front yard? Or do we not know?
I mean, I don't think so, but that's building.
That's a building and zoning
Yes, as
thing.
long as it's permitted and it's allowed and whatever they allowed to do, then that's gonna be up to them.
And the occupancy is again by building and zoning, not by you?
Correct.
Okay, so that hasn't been decided yet, I suppose.
She does have a permit in the system, yes, and it's in process. So that's going to be between her and the building department.
Okay.
As far as what's allowed, how much and all
How
that.
many units and, yeah, all right, okay.
Yeah, just
Go ahead.
shortly. Good morning. I'm Supervisor Bass for the City of Fort Lauderdale. She has submitted a permit to the City of Fort Lauderdale. The engineering specialists have already told her what is required, that what she needs to do in order to keep that permit moving through the permitting process to make sure that it passes all of the disciplines that it needs to pass in order for the permit to get approved and get to printed out. So she's aware of what's needed to be done, and the permit is in process.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Brian Donaldson. I'm the president of the Birch Park Finger Streets, the Birch Park HOA. I'm the one that made the initial complaint because of the fact that that is my responsibility as the president of the HOA, that if the neighborhood sees blatant violations of our city code, that we are to report it, and you cannot do it anymore anonymously. So I have been doing that as the HOA president. This out-of-state owner has no intention of treating this property as an RS8 single-family home. She has a multi-unit in Dolphin Isles, and she has parking all the way across. She has informed me last summer when I said you can't take out all of your trees and all of your grass and put gravel and start parking all of your extra workers' vehicles and leaving them, and then they walk down the street, and demand that and scream over a Ring doorbell video at anyone that may encroach in front of her house. And she's calling police and parking enforcement and wasting their time. So we came to the agreement that she was in violation. She said that she doesn't need a permit, she didn't need to deal with zoning, et cetera. My big concern is, yes, she keeps saying that she has a permit open. I've looked at the notes in the system for the building department. She is aware of what she needs to do. She has not done it. That's why she still doesn't have a permit. However, she's had all of the pavers delivered to put in her full driveway. We can't see the plans that she has put in. However, the notes from engineering and from zoning are saying that she hasn't submitted them. So it's been rejected like 2 or 3 times. So we as a neighborhood, for a person that has been advertising this on Airbnb ever since she bought it, but she's gotten through the loophole of not having to do a vacation rental because she's advertising 31 days. So she's using that loophole because the state requires anything that's 30 days and under to be registered with our vacation rental program. So she's avoided that. She just doesn't care. And the fact that she has advertised pictures of an interior, which is different than the real estate pictures when she bought, and she's had no permits for all the work on the inside. She's just basically saying, I'm gonna do what I wanna do. I live in Illinois. My husband's a doctor, and I really don't care. So that's our concern as a HOA. We haven't seen what she's turned in that is stuck in building department because building department has rejected her plans. So at some point, are they going to actually approved the plans, but in the meantime, she's delivered all these papers and are sitting. I mean, it's an eyesore, no trees, no grass. She's just, and it's a tiny little house. I believe it's legally a 2-bedroom. So why would you need 5 parking spaces? So we want to make sure that as an RS8 neighborhood, which has no multifamily, that we came and spoke, because we do not want this as a precedent by outside people that live out of the state that just want to buy up places. She bought the cheapest house in the neighborhood, and she just wants to be able to ring renters through there. So that's our concern. We haven't seen what she's turned in building department, but I know that building department has multiple times rejected it.
Okay.
Did you report the case about the interior renovation without permit?
Yes. When we had the listing, we turned it in for took rental violation. Her attorney got her out of that loop, because then she changed her ad to 31 days. She took down all the trees. We went through that process. She's smarter than the system, it seems to be.
But the
and is
interior,
bragging
I'm
that.
just speaking to the interior renovation, because I was going to send an email to the building department.
Yes, we
You've already
did,
reported
but
that.
I've been told that until some other things happen, that they can't come on the property to inspect the inside, because she has warning, no trespass signs and everything on it.
Well, if
So
she's
I
seeking
was told
permits,
they
she needs
haven't
to-
done it.
If she's seeking building permits, they're going to have to do inspections.
Yes, but
whether she
that's a
likes it or
building
not.
permit on the
I
outside,
don't care
but
if
they
you're from
haven't
Illinois or wherever you're
approved it, because she doesn't have any of the engineering drawings. She hasn't shown any of the drainage issues. She's at the end of the street. She doesn't want to put her garbage cans on the south side. She wants the garbage men to get out of the truck, get them from hers, because garbage trucks have to back down the street. So everybody puts it on the south side. It's one non-compliant after another, and she claims she didn't know there was an HOA. Well, every HOA is a you don't have to join, but yes, we are recognized by the city and by the state and the county. So we're our watchdog, and she just wants to do what she wants to do.
Okay.
But thank you.
Well, for purposes of the case today, I'm only here for this, what the code lady has brought up as to a stipulated agreement that you can't use all that gravel.
Right.
Now, the whole idea of the pavers is not even before me, right?
No.
That's a building permit issue in a different part of the city, but it's going to be reviewed. I'm not
Right.
sure, I don't, taking out the trees, that sounds like another issue, which would be in violation if it is. And I would hope that's being
The
inspected.
the pavers are there right now because of the fact that they have an open permit. So if you have an open permit, of course, you can have whatever building materials you're using for that permit to be on the property. So if it's something that's on the building side that shouldn't be there, the building department will address whatever is not supposed to be there as far as permitting. But they have an open permit, so that's why the permits.
But how many
the
months
pavers
can
are
the
there.
permit be open? Because she keeps getting her permit rejected because she's trying to get a permit for something that is not part of our code.
The permit is, as long as you're getting inspections, as long as you don't go over 6 months without getting any type of inspection, your permit is good. If you go 6 months without any type of inspections, then the building department would then at that time suspend your permit, and then you'll have to go through renewal to renew your permit. But as long as you're getting inspections done, whether or not they pass or fail the disciplines, as long as it's active and you're getting your inspections done, you can keep that permit open.
But I think part of the confusion is the HOA president is saying the permit, his understanding is the permit has not been issued.
It
Because
hasn't.
there's still multiple reviews in the system.
It's still, she has to submit corrections.
Right, so that means the permit's not issued, which means that the materials should not be on site because there's no active issued permit.
Yeah, it was applied for in the interim, it was applied for, but it would be on the building side to address it if it's there. Yeah,
So you can see our frustration.
I understand.
yeah.
Yes, sir, I hear you, and I'm composing an email right now.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're going to write to the building division?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, again, it's two different arms of the city.
No,
but-
I
but
totally
the intent is to
understand.
make sure they work together to help protect your neighborhood.
Yeah,
Okay,
great, thank you.
all right. This is a highly unusual looking property, I'll say that. Yes, sir.
Hi, Jeffrey Scholes.
Address?
3306 Northeast 17th Street.
Okay.
So I'm a neighbor, and I'm here supporting the neighborhood.
Okay?
So I don't want to get into the details of the project because everyone has done that already. I just wanted to express my concerns. I recently relocated from Boston, Massachusetts, and we moved into the neighborhood a little over about 2 years ago. And what attracted us to the neighborhood was it's, single-family homes, beautiful neighborhood, everybody takes great care of it. So as soon as this activity at the house in question started happening, suddenly it looks like a commercial property and, completely against the rest of the look and feel of the neighborhood. And so I wanted to just express my concern about that, and that if this happens to this particular home, other people might get an idea that they can do the same thing, which would be sad.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Well, I believe that the scrutiny on this property is going to be increased, not just from code, but now from building. Because, again, I don't understand how the person, we already know she took out a sidewalk, had to go put it back. She doesn't play by the rules. She's going to learn what the rules are here in Florida, not Illinois.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Mariana Fuchs, next door neighbor.
Your address?
3309.
Okay.
So I came here to support my neighbors. We really live in a very peaceful environment. I'm very happy. We moved to the house the same day. We did the closing the same day with my neighbor, with Martha. We see the property first, her property, and it was completely different. It was full of trees and landscaping, and inside it was all old and very bad condition. She renovated the whole house without permit, and she turned down all the trees. She said that they were sick, they were infested, but I doubt, because there was a lot of records that she really does what she wants all the time. Her fence, her concrete fence was bended, so we wanted to turn it down and build a new fence. She said that that concrete fence was us, and she knew that was hers. So she made us pay for the turn down of that fence, the concrete fence. We paid half of that turn down because we wanted to do all the renovation. Then she called the city because we did the bathroom, and she did the whole house, and she made a claim for our house. We did nothing, we complained with everything we needed to do, so we have permit for everything, but she didn't. Then she put a sound alarm in her house. So every person that walks on the street, it was sound all day long. Click, 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 inside the house, in her yard, and on the street. So we moved to this peaceful neighborhood and hearing click, 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 click all day and all night. So 2 days ago, Sharon really inspired me to go to the city and make the complaint because, we live in a peaceful neighborhood, vacational neighborhood with a commercial sound alarm like Target. So fortunately, I'm very grateful they made us turn it off. But she does whatever she wants. Nobody can put boundaries to her. I mean, it's unbelievable. So that's why I came here.
I think she's running into some boundaries now.
Thank you so much.
You've got the code people working on it, and now more importantly to me,
Yes.
is that the building division.
And she's a bully. One day, her husband came and he threatened me. So my husband came and said, no, this can't go this way.
No,
it was
I-
a whole pain,
No,
all the process with her. I didn't want to
Don't
move
ever
to
get
the
into
house.
don't ever get into personal disputes with the people.
Yeah.
Call the building officials or the code people, but don't get into that kind of a thing. It's too dangerous.
It's
But
too
again,
dangerous, I know.
this doesn't look right to me at all.
No, and she called the police anytime. Our workers wanted to work in our fence and give it the best side of the fence to her. She didn't want us even step 1 millimeter in her property. So it was impossible for my husband to put the nice side of the fence on her side. She made a complaint on the city. So that's our permit was frozen for 30, 60 days because of her. And we have records of everything. We have,
Okay, well, we're gonna try to work with what she's got here.
Yes.
And she can only do with what is allowed under the city codes
I hope so.
and the state building
I
codes.
hope so.
Okay.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, so you let them know,
I
Rhonda,
appreciate it.
at the building division of the issues?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if-
Yes, sir. Wrote everything down.
Who would the HOA president contact if he needs to? For building? I think it's more of a building thing than a code thing.
Oh, for building, George Oliva is the chief,
Official?
yeah, he's the chief over enforcement, or you can also go through code and they can refer you as well.
Okay, just so you're aware of what's going on, where you can ask what the status is of things, okay? Okay, folks. We'll try to protect your rights here so that she can't bully you. That's not gonna happen. And just as long as we are aware, please report it to the city. Like I said, don't get into personal disputes with the people. It's too dangerous. And let the city do it, but I wanna make sure the city tells you what's going on. You gotta come up.
Yes, John Tiberio, 3304. So the other issue we have, because this has been going on for, half a year now, is parking. So we've worked with the city and they've all been very cooperative and parking enforcement, but, it's, the city's big and the left hand and the right hand. There doesn't seem to be a way to get the message to parking or public safety officers that when she calls to complain about a parking spot and somebody parking in front of her house, not to come, or to tell her that's a legal parking space. So they come, they argue with her about an hour over the phone, they beg us, can you just do me a favor and move the car because she's screaming, and that's, to me, is just rewarding bad behavior. So I don't know in all the other plans if there can be some sort of coordination, communication with the parking enforcement that there is legal parking there, and even though she calls and complains that she wants the car towed or ticketed, that's not a valid complaint.
Okay, well, I suppose parking is allowed along the street. I don't know for sure.
So once again, Stephanie Bass for the city of Fort Lauderdale. I have spoken to the assistant parking manager. He's aware of exactly what goes on. He's reached out to me on more than one occasion. I have explained to him that until any other things in the interim, until something takes place, a change takes place with the current parking situation over there now, that on-street parking is still authorized there. So they know that they're not issuing any type of parking citations or anything at this time until, like I said, the parking situation's changed. So I've
Okay.
been in contact with the assistant.
All right, that's
Yeah.
appreciated.
And thank you for that, but she will still call parking enforcement, and then the officer's in the middle, and they don't know
Well,
about
now,
the city's.
that gentleman's gonna have to tell his people that.
He's already said to me an email, sent me email correspondence stating that they wouldn't be responding to it, and our officers know not to as well.
And what about the police? Are the police are gonna respond to this? or-
Usually it's either parking enforcement or our code enforcement officers who usually assist something such as that.
Or
Okay, you-
police have come, yeah, police have come.
Okay, if there's somebody in the police department, so that they're not wasting their resources on something like this, that'd be helpful. Just so it's a big city, so they're all talking and are aware, okay?
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you, and thank you for everything you've done so far.
Okay, thanks for your patience. We'll try to get this resolved for you. Okay,
Next case.
Thank you.
so I just approve the stipulated agreement, yes.
Next case, page 19. Inspector Gustavo Caracas, case number CE 22070067, case address 1500 Northwest 9th Avenue, owner David M. Bedoya, posted at property 21323, posted at City Hall 22823.
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm sorry, good morning,
I
Magistrate.
have to do this.
Good morning, Your Majesty.
Because I do everybody. I want people to know, I don't like to be called Your Honor because I'm not and never was a judge. Only a person who's been a judge gets to be called Your Honor. The gentleman before me who passed away was a judge and he was allowed to be called Your Honor. I don't like it because I wasn't elected or appointed. So call me the magistrate, call me Mr. Ansbro. I keep proposing Your Majesty, but people don't like that either because it sounds like magistrate. But I'm not going to use that one either. So please know Your Honor stuff. Yes, sir, go.
Magistrate, good morning. Officer Caracas for the City of Fort Lauderdale, Code Compliance Inspector presenting case number CE 22070067 for the property located at 1500 Northwest 9th Avenue. Inspection of the property was performed on July 5th of 2022 and cited for the following violations. 9-304B, the driveway at this property requires maintenance. The driveway needs to be resurfaced. 9-305A, there's overgrowth of landscape material along and with accumulation of leaves encroaching upon the public right-of-way. 9-280H1, the wooden fence at this property is in disrepair, is not being maintained as required, including but not limited to missing slots, fence, aligned, new sections of fence installed and replaced. 9-305B, the landscaping at this property is not being maintained in a neat and well-kept appearance. There are areas of dead and missing ground cover. 18-12A, there's overgrowth, trash, rubbish, and debris on the property and on its swale. Courtesy notice was mailed to the property owner listed on BCPA First Class Mail on July 5th of 2022, allowing 10 days to come into compliance. Contact has been made with the property owner. Special Magistrate request form was sent on August 8th, 2022, and scheduled for today's Special Master. Pre-hearing inspection was done on March 9th of this year, and pictures presented here were taken to confirm the violations have not been brought into compliance. The city is requesting the following, sir. For 9-304B, 35 days. 9-305A, 35 days. 9-280H1, 35 days. 9-305B, 35 days. And 18-12A, 10 days. Photos submitted into record for evidence. The city's requesting those days and come into compliance or a daily fine of $50 for each of the violations that exist.
Okay.
Photos submitted into record for evidence, and we have the property owner with us today, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir, your name and address?
Yes, my name is David Bedoya. My address is 1500 Northwest 9th Avenue. I'm here. Actually, when I received the first notice of Mr. Caracas, I tried to fix everything by myself. I thought I was doing well with what I was doing. I spoke to him this morning. He's given me some instructions about what to do. I'm really, I wish to request more time to fix. During the pandemic, I had financial issues, you know. I used to work my part-time job, and I was doing Uber to increase my income. Then in the pandemic, I couldn't work anymore with now I'm going back doing that. I was trying to, actually, I think the main thing about this one is basically, he was speaking to me about the fence. I did it myself. I did without, what I did is, the part that's completely broken, I made a new one in a different way. He's telling me that everything has to be the same. I have to finish the whole thing, because what I did, I built the new one and the part that was completely broken, but I fixed the other part. He's telling me that I cannot do that, and I need a permit for that. Also, the driver, he's telling me that we have to speak about that, because he says that the way I'm doing is not the correct way. And he told me some small details that are not. So I asked him. We are going to meet next week to see how I can fix the things. Since I need permit, I think I will need more time, because actually I thought that I was doing the right way what I was doing. But I will need more time, specifically because the money, the finances is hard for me right now. So I could.
Okay, well, again, some of these things don't need permits. The landscaping, you don't need permits to fix this landscaping.
Yeah.
So you don't need more time for those things.
No, yeah, but for the
For the
landscaping,
fence,
yeah,
it looks like you're gonna have to build a new fence to match what you started, which the new part looks really good. the old part with the new part doesn't look right at all.
Yeah, no, actually, and I made a special design because the problem that they have with the fence, I made it to go through in a hurricane instead of impacting the whole fence completely. I made a special design where the wind is deflected.
Okay,
So it won't impact.
again, it doesn't matter. You need a permit to do this.
Okay,
The-
yeah,
The
yeah.
building department has to see whether or not it will meet hurricane codes and building codes.
Yeah.
So he needs maybe more time for two of these things, the driveway.
Your Honor, I do not object to any more time, I'm sorry, Magistrate. Magistrate, I do not see any inconvenience if you allow more time for the
Well,
gentleman to
I'll
have.
give more time for the fence, and does he need more time for the driveway? Do you think?
Yes, if he requires more time, I will also would like to ask if he can come back to ask for more time if he requires so. I have no problem with that. I was thinking more along the lines, maybe instead of 35 days for the fence, maybe 49 days for the fence, maybe.
Okay, what about the driveway?
Driveway will be the same, if that's okay with you.
Okay, that's,
But I want to keep the 10 days for the overgrowth
I
trash.
agree, I agree with that.
Okay.
So for the driveway and for the fence, you get 49 days to get this resolved, which means get permits and get it done. The other things, you've got 10 days for the overgrowth that's on the swale. Clean it up. You don't need a permit to do that. You need to get out there and clean it up. If you need him to explain what has to come out, he will help you do that.
Yeah.
That's 10 days for the other one. So 49 days for the,
In case because I need a permit for what I'm doing, so.
you
in
need a
case that-
permit for the paving of the driveway, right?
Yes, if he wishes to keep the pavers with the gravel that he put there, he will require some sort of permit from the building department. It looks like he's actually put the pavers and then he's gonna put up things and then cement it, but he requires permit for that, basically.
Okay, so those big things to the left of the carport,
That is
those are
correct.
pavers that need a permit anyhow.
If he requires to extend the driveway, yes, sir.
Okay, and the driveway itself,
The driveway itself, that's original there, it's okay.
okay,
It's just the
it's the
extension.
paver parts, okay.
Yes.
So that part needs a permit, because what they do is they make sure they're kept in control there, and water goes through when it rains, so it doesn't roll into the street, it stays on your property. So it's what's called percolation, to get into the ground. So you need permits for that driveway thing you do with the pavers and for the fence. 49 days to do both those things. 10 days for the landscape, and
In case that I couldn't get the permits, in
you're
the
gonna come
term
back if you don't get them in time, but you need to apply for them.
yeah,
the-
at least I
for-
have to
for the
apply.
pavers?
But if they don't give me the permit in the.
We're gonna
I mean,
know,
the-
we're
in
gonna
the
know next
process.
time you come back if you didn't do it and what happened, but we're gonna know you either applied and got rejected, but if you haven't done anything, it's going to be a problem. Because
Yeah,
it
yeah.
comes
No,
back
yeah.
from me, and again, if you don't do these things on time, it's $50 a day for each one, any one that you do, or all of them, like 70 is $350 a day. We don't, like I said before, don't want the money, want the compliance. You've had since July to get this addressed. You haven't done anything. So now you're gonna have to do it.
Well,
And-
actually, I thought.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
and just take it seriously, okay? All right, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case, page 6. Inspector Malaika Murray, case number CE 22110598, case address 1201 Citrus Isle, number 1 and 2. Owner Paulino Castillo and Wellington A. Castillo, posted at property 3123, posted at City Hall 22823.
Good morning, Special Magistrate. Inspector Murray for the City of Fort Lauderdale Code Compliance. The case number for record is CE 22110598 for the property address of 1201 Citrus Isle. I first inspected this RD15 residential single-family and duplex zone location on December the 4th, 2022, and the following a complaint that was received. During that inspection, I observed violations which were cited at the property, 18-1, which was brought into compliance, 47-34.1.A.1, which was brought into compliance. This violation, though, does still remain 9-304B for the driveway having cracks, breaks, as well as potholes and not being maintained in a well-graded condition. The violation for 24-27B was brought into compliance. There is a violation of 18-12A for an accumulation of leaves and other landscape material accumulating on the driveway areas as well as the front of the property. This case was scheduled for this special magistrate hearing on January the 29th, 2023. There has been a conversation with this property's representation as well as ownership to discuss the violations and corrective actions for resolution. BCPA records reveals no change in ownership since September 16th of 2022. This is a vacant property that is not homesteaded. During a pre-hearing inspection that was conducted on Sunday that just passed, March the 12th, 2023, I found that the violations do still remain as depicted in the pictures. The city is recommending 56 days to bring the property into compliance, or $50 per day per violation to begin to accrue after. And we do have the property's representation here to speak on behalf of what's going on with the property, sir.
All right, thank you, Inspector. Your name and address?
Good morning, Magistrate. Juan Collar, 1201 Citrus Isle.
Okay, who are you in relation to the property owner?
I'm the brother. I'm his
You're
brother.
you're the
his
what?
brother.
You're the property owner?
No, the property owner's brother.
Brother, okay. Look, the Citrus Isles are very nice properties in the city. This property is not being obviously maintained, and it's going to have to be. He's given you 56 days for your brother to get this into compliance. The driveway is deplorable. The paint on the walls is deplorable. It's hurting the neighborhood, and you need to have your brother fix it within the 56 days, or the fines are going to start. You heard me say before, I don't want the fines. The city doesn't want the fines. They want this in compliance.
I understand. I say one, we bought the property, he bought the property in this condition. We're in the process of applying for permits to finish renovations inside the property. I was under the impression that I had to stop doing anything else, but we are, our intention is to paint the whole property, redo the driveway and make it all beautiful. So we stopped waiting for the permits to be.
Well, you don't need a permit to paint the building, right?
No, sir.
So you do that, and then apply for the permit. Look at the picture of this thing with the potholes on this driveway. That you do need a permit for.
I understand.
But it's got to be fixed.
Yes.
It can't remain like that.
Yes, sir.
All right? So again, that'll be the order. 56 days, $50 per day, for either one or both. Each is a separate violation. If they're not done, a fine starts. Like I said, I don't want to do the fine, but it's there to let you know, to let your brother know he needs to get these done on time. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Special Magistrate and Madam Clerk.
Thank you, sir.
Next case, page 19, Inspector Gustavo Caracas, case number CE 22120614, case address 432 Northeast 3rd Avenue, owner KMAJCTL LLC, posted at property 22223, posted at City Hall 22823.
Good morning, Magistrate.
This one?
Welcome back.
There are also two more cases for this property owner.
Okay, are they on this next pages? Okay, three graffiti cases, right?
Right, I'm going to read in the next two
Yeah,
cases.
you can read them all together, that's fine.
Page 20, case number CE 22120615, case address 436 Northeast 3rd Avenue, owner KMAJCTL LLC, Inspector Gustavo Caracas, posted at property 22223, posted at City Hall 22823. Next case, case number CE 22120616, case address 440 Northeast 3rd Avenue, owner KMAJCTL LLC, posted at property 22223, posted at City Hall 22823.
Good morning, Magistrate. Just to give you an idea of this Y3, it's a big, huge lot with 3 different parcels, just to let you know and give you an idea with the pictures. Each parcel has a different address, 432, 436, and 440. Officer Caracas presenting the cases and addresses as read. Inspection of the property was performed on December 21 of 2022 and cited for the following violation. 18-1 nuisance. There's graffiti on the green fence meshing. Also, the green fence meshing at the vacant lot property is not held tight properly to the chain link fence. This is creating a hazardous public nuisance. It's being maintained in such a manner that the property is or may reasonably become or may adversely affect and impair the welfare of adjacent properties and adversely affect pedestrians walking on the adjacent sidewalk. Courtesy notice was mailed to the property owner listed on BCPA First Class Mail on December 21st, 2022, allowing 10 days to come into compliance. Contact has been made with the property owner. Special magistrate request form sent on January 4th of this year, scheduled for today's special master. Pre-hearing inspection was done on March 9th, and the pictures presented here are taken to confirm the violations have not been brought into compliance on all three properties. The city is requesting the following: 10 days to come into compliance, or a daily fine of $100 for each of the for the violation that exists on each of the properties. Photo submitted into record for evidence, and we have the property's representative here today with us, sir.
Okay, yes, sir.
Good morning, Andrew Shine with Lockry and Chakas representing the property owner. We're okay with 10 days.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm inclined to increase the fine, but if you're going to get it done in 10 days, then I won't do that.
We will, yeah, we plan on getting it done this week. It's actually been replaced a couple of times. Every time they come out, there's new graffiti on there. But we're going to come up with, I guess, a more permanent solution for this, and I'm in close contact with the inspector who's going to let me know whenever there's graffiti out there, and we'll go fix it.
Okay, well, I think it's more important that your client figure out when there's graffiti out there, not him. He's got lots of other cases to do. Your client owns his property and is going to have to develop it sometime, but it's not taking care of a property. It's a premier area of the redevelopment area north of us, right?
Understood.
So they've got to be on top of it. Also, if it's going to continue to use those kind of screens and blow where they're not being secured, it's dangerous for people who are pedestrians. So come up with it something else, I don't care, but do it. I'm inclined to put a much higher fine on it to get their attention. I won't do that if I don't need to.
Understood. We'll come up with a much more permanent solution for the
Okay.
screening as well.
All right, so that'll be the order, 10 days for each of the cases, $100 per case, if not timely compliant. Okay, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Magistrate.
Next case, page 37. Inspector Gail Williams, case number CE 22030714, case address 904 Ponce de Leon Drive, owner Colleen Hurt. This case was first heard 8/9/22 to comply by 11/8/22. One suspension from 12/13/22 to 2/14/23. One section not complied at $25 per day, $1,575 accrued. The city is requesting the full amount, and the fines continue to accrue.
Good morning, Special Magistrate. Senior Inspector Gail Williams for the City of Fort Lauderdale, presenting case CE 22030714, address 904 Ponce de Leon Drive. This case was first presented on August 8th, 2022, to comply by November 8th, 2022. On December 13th, 2022, Special Magistrate Anspros granted a 63-day extension for the following: 25-100. There are pavers placed in the right-of-way/swell area without required conditions/permit. A pre-hearing inspection was conducted on March 12, 2023, and found the violation 25-100 has not complied as depicted in the photos. The representative for the property is here and would like to say something.
Wasn't anything done at all?
Excuse me?
Anything done at all?
No, sir. It's not, the property has not complied yet.
Yes, sir.
Here's what, and
Tell me who you are first.
Dan Hughes on behalf of the property.
And you're an attorney, right?
I am.
Okay.
The last time I came in front of you, we were going to meet with Anthony Fajardo. I always pronounce it wrong, but with the.
Who is that? Do we know?
He was assistant city manager.
Oh.
And then before that meeting occurred in the latter part, he advised me that his duties had been transferred and I should speak to Chris Cooper, which we did and went over everything with him.
And who's that?
Chris is the developmental,
He's the director of DSD.
Okay.
right. So we spoke to Chris and told them what we wanted. Just real quick, the problem occurred, when all these pipes were bursting around our city. They came in on Ponce de Leon, and they have changed the scope of how the water comes. So now instead of going to the other side, it comes to my client's property, and that's how all this got started. Anyway, so I spoke to Bob Dunkel, assistant city attorney, and guy I used to work with in the 80s, and just yesterday, and he said, look, Dan, until the city gets an engineering report, they're not going to do anything. So,
Engineering report to do what?
well, to show the scope of the problem, and what Bob and I have talked about before, is to do a revocable easement. But the inspection position is, now you got to straighten all this other part out first before we even consider that. So I spoke to Ms. Williams, who's been very communicative throughout this process. And my understanding is that they're willing to give us 35 days to complete the engineering study and come back to you. If I misspoke what we talked about, let me know, but I think that's what we talked about. I understand there's a problem, and it's not that my client's just being the hell of the neighborhood. It's because you can't even use his driveway when we get the big waterfalls. And so that's why we're trying to work out a solution.
Okay, well, what kind of concerns me is that 63 days have gone by and nothing's gotten done at all, other than meeting with somebody who couldn't help you?
Correct. No, he did say, I'm sorry, Special Magistrate, prior to the hearing, we did speak and we agreed upon 35 days.
Okay.
In order to complete the engineering process that they need to do. The city is requesting 35 days, stay of fines with an order to reappear.
All right, so are there fines running now?
We don't have a hearing in 35 days, we have a hearing in 28 days, or 56.
Okay, so 28 days is okay?
Let me just, real quick, let me just make sure I'll be here. April 11th? Yeah, I have to go out of town the next day, but it'll be on Tuesday, right? That's Tuesday, April 11th.
Okay, so 28 days?
Well, I
Stay of
mean, I'd
fines.
rather have the 66, but I mean, it's whatever
Well,
you guys will give
well,
us, or whatever number she said. I think she said either 20,
No, the city is requesting 28 days. A stay of fines with the order to
So stay
reappear.
the fines from today.
Correct.
They're still on the property, we'll deal with them later, but put a stay on the fines, come back in 28 days, submit the engineering report. Then you have this whole process of going through a possible revocable easement, if that's even going to be done, depending upon what the engineer says, because I presume city engineering is going to have to review your engineer and either confirm or deny. I remember this area, what it suffered, like a number of parts of the city, with the bursting of the pipes. So I get it, but the fact that they put in the favors without permits is troublesome. We're dealing with it, that's what I'm here for. Okay, 28 days to suspend it with a mandatory reappearance? Okay?
Yes, and we just for clarity, we just want to make sure that when we reappear, that we have some movement on the permit, because as we discussed prior to the hearing, that the permit has had no movement in over a year. So I know you said you had to speak to your engineers or whoever we need to speak to, so we just want to see some movement, since it's just not still sitting in a waiting status for over a year.
fair enough.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Okay, yes, sir.
Next case, page 9, Inspector Karen Proto. Case number CE 22110649, case address 3060 Northwest 17th Street. Owner Harry Mangal, posted at property 22223, posted at City Hall 22823.
Good morning, Your Magistrate.
Hello.
Inspector Proto for the City of Fort Lauderdale, case number CE 22110649. Property address 3060 Northwest 17th Street. The property was inspected on 11/30 22, and the following violations were observed. 9-12A, there's trash, rubbish, and debris on the property. 18-1, there are items being stored in the back of the property, such as, but not limited to, rugs, bricks, furniture, and other miscellaneous items, creating a public nuisance. This is a recurring violation and is creating a public nuisance. Refer to case number 19070244. This case is being presented to the special magistrate for finding of fact whether violation complies or not prior to this hearing date. 9-304B, the paved driveway is in disrepair and not well graded. There are cracks and potholes and needs to be resurfaced. Permits may be required. 9-305B, the landscape on the property is not being maintained on a neat, well-kept appearance. There are areas of dead and missing ground cover. This is a recurring violation, refers to case number CE 19070244. The case is being presented in front of special magistrate for finding of fact whether violation complies prior to this hearing date. An inspection report was posted at this property on 11/30/22. I re-inspected the property on 12/18 and the violations remain. A 38-day extension was granted. Notice of hearing was posted on 2/22/23. As a pre-hearing inspection on 3/12/23, the violations remain as depicted in the photos. The city is requesting 28 days or $100 a day thereafter for each violation.
Okay. Was anything done?
No.
Nothing at all? Okay. Yes, ma'am? Your name?
Hi, my name is Petula Sohan. I'm here on behalf of Harry Mungle, my
And
father.
Your father?
Yes.
Okay.
And I understand we've been working with the tenants, and we've cleaned the property numerous amounts of times, and it keeps coming back. My father and mother are very ill, so now it's my responsibility. So I do understand, I am trying to get everything done, and I'm just asking for some more time.
Well, they're giving you 4 weeks, 28 days. The thing that bothers me is that this has recurred from before. So, excuse me, so you probably need to get a power of attorney or something from your parents, get the ability to either get these people in line or evict them if you need to. This cannot continue.
I understand.
Does it look that bad out front with all the junk, the Christmas junk? Is that going?
All
Oh,
kinds.
no, those are old pictures. It's not like that anymore. There's nothing in the front there anymore.
It's on the side of the property now.
Okay. Plus, there's cars parked all over the lawn, and there's not
Yes.
much lawn there.
There's derelict vehicles on the property now.
Okay, I mean, this needs a lot of work, and you need to get on top of it. I understand they're ill, but if you're helping them is getting into compliance, because it cannot persist like this.
I understand.
So, giving you 28 days to get it addressed.
Is
and
there
I-
any way that you can give me a little bit more? Because what happens now is that my parents don't have the money, and the property taxes and insurance have gone up. So I'm gonna
Well,
need
they must be getting rent.
the rent is not even covering now that the tax and insurance have gone up. So if I had a little bit more time, I'd be able to take money out of my pocket to fix the property and hopefully sell it, or, you know.
The city's not gonna wait for you to sell it.
No.
It's
to
gotta be
fix it,
fixed up.
To fix it. I mean, I need time to get money from my pocket to fix it.
Okay.
That's what I want.
All right, how much more time would we be willing to do?
I'd be willing to go to 42 days to give her a little bit more time to get it done.
42 days, is a month and a
You would be able
half.
to do a little bit more than that?
I think you're pushing it.
Okay.
So let's go 42 days. Again, I don't, like I've said before, everybody in the room hears it, I don't want the fines.
Yes.
The city wants the compliance, but the property is not being taken care of. And if that's your parents' tenant, then if you're gonna help your parents, deal with this tenant and either get them out of there or get them to comply. Do they have a written lease?
Yes, they do.
Then you need to enforce the lease.
Yes.
And if they're not doing it, you need to evict them. You're gonna be your call for your parents.
Yeah, I
But
already. I
it can't
called
go
them.
on like this with derelict cars. The property looks miserable, just miserable. So you're gonna have to bring it back.
Yes.
A month and a half to do it, okay? Work with her if you're having difficulty. If she sees you're getting there, so they may be able to work with you on an
Yes,
extension.
absolutely.
No one's trying to make it more difficult for you, but it can't persist. Especially, this is from 19, 2019, there was a
Yes,
prior
sir.
case. So here it is 3 years later, 4 years later, and it's back again.
Every time we clean it, I take my children, we go and we clean it, we painted it ourselves, we've done everything ourselves. As soon as we turn our back, it's back to normal again.
Is that the same tenant?
Same tenant.
Well, what does that tell you? Get rid of the tenant. If they're not going to do their job,
know,
you have to notify the tenant that they're in violation, or do whatever it takes to give them the violation, and then the tenant can't remain there, because it's going to cost your parents money. This is not homesteaded. It'll be a fine that runs against their property and will become a lien on their property. I don't want to do that. The city doesn't want to do that. They just can't have it look like this and continue, especially since it's been happened before.
Yeah, I understand.
All right? So I know you're doing the best you can, but so is she.
Yes.
All right? 42 days, $100 a day if not timely done. For how many? There's 3 different violations, right?
Yes, thank you.
So it's $100 per violation. Okay? That's $300 a day if this is not done. Told I don't want the money. It's got to be fixed. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case, page 36. Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr., case number CE 22020178, case address 828 Northwest 18th Avenue, owner Hisano Martinez and Scarlett Martinez. This case was first heard 8/9/22 to comply by 9/13/22. There are 2 suspensions noted on the agenda. 2 sections complied at $25 per day, $3,500 accrued. The city is requesting the full amount.
Good morning, Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr. on behalf of the city, case and address as read. This property was first heard on 8/9/22, and the magistrate ruled in favor for the city, where the property owner was ordered to correct the violations by 9/13/22. Case was heard again on 11/9/22 and 1/26/23, and the magistrate granted a 14-day extension on both occasions with a stay of the fines for the owner to make necessary corrections. The violation was finally brought into compliance on January 31st, 23. At this time, city is requesting full imposition of the fines.
Okay. So the property looks much better, obviously,
Yeah.
now that it's been taken care of. But you've got $3,500 in fines?
Mhm.
This is not a thing where I can reduce it unless I choose to, right?
Yes, you can, Your Honor. You have that discretion.
Okay.
You can waive
All right,
them,
Your
you
Honor.
can,
All right, Your Honor. I'm going to call you You're the Your Honor.
you can assess administrative costs or
Okay.
anything in between. Yes, sir.
What's the cooperation level you've had with the property?
Administrative costs are $1,390.
Okay.
Except that wasn't his question.
Yeah, how have they been in getting this resolved? 'Cause it looks good now. Did it take-
It took a while. I think it was just misunderstandings throughout the other hearings on what exactly needed to be done. And then on that last hearing that we had, she and I spoke, and I was able to explain exactly. And once she did, then it was done. That was it. It was a simple fix. It just, she misinterpreted what it was, I think,
Okay.
throughout the time.
And that's often what it's about, is the dialogue to understand and communicate. So again, it looks really good.
Thank you.
I'm going to thank you, because I'm looking at how what it used to be and what it is now. I can't release the money that he spent for his time on this. But I'm going to reduce it down to $1,390, which is his time and the city's time. That's got to be paid. I won't charge the whole $3,500 because you did get it fixed. You're a little slow getting it fixed, but it looks good, and it's important that you worked well with him, and now you have to keep it this way, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll reduce the fine to $1,390.
In what time I have to pay that?
Though you'll get an order in the mail, and then you pay it when you can. But
Okay.
I don't really give time to pay, right? I don't do that. Okay, so if you don't do it, it ends up going through it'll end up being a lien on you don't live there, do you?
Yeah, I live there.
All right, do you have a homestead on it?
Huh?
Are you homesteaded? Do you have a homestead exemption?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, we don't want to have you get a lien on the property if you didn't pay it. So try to pay it as quickly.
No, I will pay it right away.
Okay.
All the delay was because when I request the permit, then I get stuck because the inspector say that I need a permit for the sidewalk, and the engineer say no, and then I
It
get
took
a-
time, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That's okay, all right. but we'll pay for his costs.
Mhm.
And then, that's like less than half of what the fine is, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case, page 7. Inspector Dorian Cologne, case number CE 22100619, case address 501 Hendricks Isle, owner 500 Hendricks LLC, posted at property 22823, posted at City Hall 22823.
Good morning again, Senior Inspector Cologne for the City of Fort Lauderdale. Case number is CE 22100619, address 501 Hendricks Isle. This property was first inspected on October 12th, 2022, which resulted in the following violations. Section 47-19.3 F4, the seawall at this property is in disrepair. All property owners must maintain their seawalls in good repair, and a seawall is presumed to be in disrepair if it allows for upland erosion, transfer of material through the seawall, or allows tidal waters to flow unimpeded through the seawall to adjacent properties or the right-of-way. There have been numerous inspections conducted, including a waterway inspection conducted by Senior Inspector Garcia. And we also conducted some inspections during king tides and high tides during the king tides, which were conducted on 11/21/22, 11/22, 22, and 11/23/22. So the violation is depicted in the photos, and we also have some videos as well, and the city would like them to be entered for the record.
Okay.
And the city is requesting 63 days to comply, or a fine in the amount of $50 a day thereafter. And also, I'm sorry, the city would also like a mandatory reappearance as well.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, 56? That's fine, yes.
Okay, so this water I'm seeing is from the canal? Is that what happened?
So there is some videos that show the water coming from that side of the property, from the
Right.
seawall area, and then there's some videos that show the flow of the water.
Okay, I see it now.
Yes, the
Yep.
flow of the water's coming from his
So the
property.
canal's on the other side. There's a wooden dock, and the canal's on the other side of the dock, obviously, right?
Yeah, so the water comes down and goes into the right-of-way, and then it also goes onto the adjacent property as well.
Okay. Do you have a picture of the seawall itself?
Do you have any? There's a lot of pictures on there. So those pictures, I think that he went by were some of the ones that were inspected from the other side, from the boat.
Okay. I get I see what's going on anyhow. All right, yes, sir. Name,
Yes.
address?
Hey, how are you? My name is Tomas Pocenti on behalf of the ownership group 500 Hendricks LLC. I've been speaking with Dorian back and forth via email regarding our situation. We're trying to figure out what the cause is first. It seems as if the pooling occurs, like you see in the pictures, not all the time. It seems to be more so when the high tides come, or these king tides happen, which are not all the time. So we're trying to get a better understanding of that. We've previously fixed the wall, and what I had shared with Dorian, we have a permit that was done, permit number BLDB DSP 210600031 8/21/2021, which we repaired that seawall. We've been in talks with C-Tech Construction, who was the contractor for that, to try and figure out what is the cause of that. They've sent us a few quotes. Dorian asked me to bring a few of the quotes for the cost of it. So the cost seems to be exorbitant, to the tune of nearly $50,000 for the seawall. And then they explained that you have to remove the dock in order to do the seawall. So then you have to do a new dock, which is another $60,000 or so. So this is a cost, a six-figure cost that we're trying to figure out the best way to mitigate and comply with the situation. During that time,
This picture shows you what's going on right here. The water is coming through under the dock, migrating across out into the street, none of which is acceptable.
Understood.
So, okay.
So what we're requesting is some time in order to get a better understanding with the professionals, what the solution may be. During this time, we've also done a survey on the property, which we figured out that the original dock was, whatever was approved by you guys was 10 feet to the north, which was also encroaching to the neighbor to the north and to the south. So we've had encroachment issues to the north and to the south, which prompted us to gain 10 feet to the south where the pooling occurs in that video where that boat is parked, that corner with 435 Hendricks. We gained 10 feet, which we subsequently requested a permit for a fence, a new fence that was done and complied with. The permit number for that was, give me 1 second. FEN 221-00009, and that was just completed in the beginning of January. What we realized in that new fence is that we have uneven grading, and it seems as if not only maybe the seawall issue, but it could also be resolved also with grading and leveling that area that you see that is uneven. I'll share a picture with you that you could see there. Basically, there's rocks on one side, and then there's a drop down, a step down. If you notice that there's steps, about 3 steps to go up to that dock. So what we can't change is the water table, and that water table goes up and down. Yes, we can do the barricade for the seawall and slow it down, but if the grading isn't fixed, then you still have the water coming up through the bottom. So what we're trying to deal with is with the proper professionals to try and figure out a solution. One of those may be filling in to grade a little bit so there's less pooling that occurs, which seems to be the more predominant issue rather than slight water leaking through the seawall. Obviously fixing the seawall in due time. So what we're requesting is time in order to discuss it with the professionals and wait until when the next king tide occurs, have professionals be out there and see, hey, this is what's can be fixed, this could be graded, and the problem resolved.
Okay,
Your Magistrate, I would like to actually correct something. So the ordinance doesn't allow less than the 60 days. So what the city would like to request is 91 days, the mandatory reappearance, or a fine of $50 a day thereafter. If he does get the permits and everything are issued within the 91 days, then he's allowed the 365 days for the repair.
Okay, that's how you want to do it then. But is this a king tide issue, or is this a daily regular tides issue?
It started during king tides, Magistrate. It seems like it was first inspected on October the 12th, so that was around king tides when it was first noted. Even now, we're having like higher than usual tides, so this is a catch-all. Like throughout the seasons when we catch them and we see that the tides are either if they're either coming over or coming through the seawalls, then that's the time then we have to go ahead and address it at that time to find out what repairs need to be made, whether it needs to be repaired or whether or not the seawall needs to be elevated.
Okay, I think I recall seeing somewhere written reports that these aisles, all of them along here,
Absolutely.
all have to be regraded for higher seawalls. I don't know how much time they're given for that, but they're all going to have to do that, right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes,
You
as that, yeah.
Okay.
Well, as they come, like, not all, but as we see them, if we see that the tidal waters are breaching the seawalls, we'll address it at that time, and we
I
see
mean,
that.
this picture shows
they're
what's
coming
going on
through.
right there.
Right.
That doesn't require an engineer to figure that out. That's
So,
a
yeah, it
repair.
becomes a problem when they're going into the public right away or going into the adjacent
Yeah,
properties.
that is a
That's when it's
problem.
addressed.
Right, okay. So they're giving you, so 91 days will do what for them?
we're gonna, as the senior inspector stated, 91 days, we want 91 days to show forward movement with the issuance of
Of a permit.
And if the permit is going to require you to repair more than 50% of the seawall, then that means you will have to actually do the replacement too as well to make sure that it's at its elevation, which is at least 3.9 feet from the finished floor. And if that process, if you have to do that, then you get 365 days from the issuance of the permit in order to complete the entire project.
Okay,
Okay, so that's plenty of time to do it, but that's the process you want to observe.
Appreciate it.
Otherwise, a fine of $50 will start, which is pretty modest, but we can't let this persist.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Magistrate, $100 a day.
$100 a day.
Sure.
But this cannot persist to the detriment of the other people who live on this island.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Also, are you keeping up all this junk, all these dead fronds and stuff? Is that being maintained?
Yeah, so there's a tenant there that's being evicted shortly. This is also a little marina.
Okay.
So that's the front of the property, so they're in the middle of moving certain things, so that's.
Okay. Well, again, it's time to get this addressed. I don't want to hear that we
Yes,
need
sir.
more time, because now you'll probably have up to a year and 3 months to get it done, which is plenty
We've
of
been
time.
proactive in discussing back and forth in emails, and we'll continue to do that.
Okay.
Yes, your Magistrate, just to recap, because I know that I kind of changed it a couple times.
All right.
So it's 91 days, or a fine of $100 a day thereafter, but we would also request a mandatory reappearance.
Okay, so you have to come back when it's after
Glad to.
June 13th. All right, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case, page 5, Inspector Gail Williams, case number CE 23010212, case address 534 Hendricks Isle, owner Bexa LLC, posted at property 3123, posted at City Hall 22823.
Good morning, Special Magistrate, Senior Inspector Gil Williams for the City of Fort Lauderdale, presenting case CE 23010212, address 534 Hendricks Isles. Property was cited on January 8th, 2023, for the following violation. 47-19.1.c. There are boats docked at this vacant lot as an accessory use with no principal structure. An inspection report was posted on the property, and a copy was mailed to the owner listed in Broward County Property Appraisal via first-class mail. A pre-hearing inspection was conducted on March 13th, 2023, and found the following violations remain. 47-19.1.c. remains as depicted in the photos. The city is requesting 56 days to comply, or a daily fine of $50 per day thereafter.
Okay, one of those is a houseboat, isn't it?
Yes, it's being utilized as a houseboat.
And the other ones, are they actually, they look like they're almost abandoned. They're pretty in bad shape, the vessels.
Correct.
Okay, yes, sir. Your name and address?
Bernardo del Rio, 534 Hendricks Isle.
So you're the owner of the property?
Yes, Your Magistrate.
You can't dock boats if you don't have a building there. They gotta
So-
go.
We are in a transition process. We did the demolition for the house that was there, and now we have an open permit. That open permit has already allowed us to start. Right now, we have done 97% of the pilings for the new structure. I say 97 because there were 3%, like we have 3 piles missing. Unfortunately, we found an old fire lane that was coming from the street into the property. So we had to work with Public Works to be able to abandon that fire lane. It actually took them a couple of intents to do it because they were not able to close the water from the street. Eventually, they were able to do it. So my next step is that I can come and I do the rest of the pilings that were missing. And with that, I can put a permit with the city for a contention wall. That permit has to be done separately from the master permit that we already have in place. And with that contention wall, I can do the backfill, and then I can continue doing the rest of the
All right,
structure.
let me shorten this. There was a building here, you had it demolished.
Yes,
You're
Your
gonna
Majesty.
rebuild.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Until the building is back and somebody's living in there, that's when you can have boats there. Until then, these have to go. You don't get to wait until you get all that done. These must leave. So I know you're making income from this, but that's not how, you're not allowed to make income on a property that's vacant. You know, that there's no building on it. So the boats have to go.
And the fact that I can show progress.
Doesn't matter. The boats have to go. I'm gonna give you 56 days to get them out of there, or I'm gonna impose the fine of $100 a day rather than 50, because I wanna
It's-
get your attention.
It's $50 per day.
I know, I'm increasing it.
Oh, you're gonna increase it.
I don't want to have this dawdling here on this island. This is one of the main islands that's very important to the city. There's no reason to have, and these boats, I don't know if they're even operable, but they look pretty bad shape. So, still, you could probably have them if you had a home that had to be occupied, right? Would it have to be occupied, or at least a home would be there, a building?
A building has to be
A
on the
building has to be
property.
there, and then you can rent the docking beyond it.
Correct.
So these have to go. You got less than 2 months to get them moved, and you can bring them back after you build the building, but they can't stay. Understand?
Yes, I do understand.
I know it's not easy, but that's not how it works. You just can't just use a vacant lot and dock boats there. That's not how it works under the code, the city code.
And considering that because we're in the transition and
No considering transition. I'm not gonna wait for another building to be built. That's months away. This has gotta go. 56 days. On the 57th day, if they're not gone, a fine starts of $100 a day, and it'll be a lien on the property. I don't want to do that. You need to comply with the code, which is these have to go. So I know there's income, but there won't be for a while until the building is built.
because like there's a catamaran, there are some boats there that
I don't care
are-
what's there. They can't stay there. They have to be associated with a building on the property. They don't. So it's real simple. They must go, which I've now said 3 times. Okay? Okay.
Next case is on page 38. It's the same owner. Case number CE 22120281. Case address 534 Hendricks Isle, number 303. Owner Bexa LLC, Inspector Gail Williams. This case was cited 12/29/22 to comply by 12/31/22. One section complied at $200 per day, $1,600 accrued. City is requesting the full amount. Appeal deadline 1/13/23. No appeal received. And this is a citation.
Correct. Good morning. Senior Inspector Gail Williams for the City of Fort Lauderdale, presenting case CE 22120281, address 534 Hendricks Isles. On December 29, 2022, the following violation was cited with a citation issued. For violation 17-6, parentheses 2, steady pure tones. If the sound source under investigation is a mechanical device, excluding HVAC equipment on residential property, and it's emitting a sound with a steady tone quality which does not fluctuate more than plus or minus 3 dBAs. The permissible sound level limits in table of small, and it shall be reduced by 5 dBAs. There were 3 generators being used to power boats docked at this vacant lot. Readings were taken on 3 different days. December 29th, 2022, dBA sound 60.1. On January 6th, 2023, dBA sound 50.6. On January 8th, 2023, dBA sound 51.5. All exceeds the above permissible sound level limited. The case complied on January 9th, 2023. No appeal was received. The city is requesting the full amount to be imposed.
Okay, so if you've been in the audience since the beginning, you've
Yeah, I
heard the
understand.
assistant city attorney, if you didn't file the appeal, which you didn't, I can't do anything about this fine.
I understand, Your Majesty.
You can come back and seek what's called a lien reduction. I'm not sure if it's worth your while to do that.
Thank you.
That's your choice, but I have to uphold the fine.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Next case, page 14. Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr. Case number CE 22090618, case address 912 Northwest 17th Avenue, owner Flora James Revocable Living Trust, Flora James trustee, posted at property 21323, posted at City Hall 22823.
Good morning, Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr. presenting on behalf of the city. Case and address as read. This property was first inspected on September 25th, 2022, and the following violations were observed. 24-27B is complied. 47-34.1.A.1 is complied. 9-306, the exterior building walls have not been maintained. Structural parts including fascia and soffits are in disrepair. There are areas of the exterior that have stains and missing peeling paint, as well as visible cracks. This is a recurring violation of previous case number CE 18061795. This case will be presented to the special magistrate seeking a finding of fact whether or not the violation complies prior to the hearing date. 9-305B, the landscape at this property and swale is not being maintained and needing well-kept appearance. There are areas of dead and missing ground cover. This is a recurrent violation of previous case number CE 18061795, CE 19010400, and CE 21060295. This case will be presented to the special magistrate seeking a finding of fact whether or not the violation complies prior to the hearing date. 9-304B, the gravel driveway of this property is not being maintained as required. The surface is not smooth and well graded, and there is also overgrowth of weeds throughout. The cement portions of the driveway are also stained with dirt and/or oil. This is a recurrent violation of previous case number CE 18061795, CE 19010400, and CE 21060295. This will also be presented to the special magistrate seeking a finding of fact whether or not the violation complies prior to the hearing date. 9-280H1, the chain link fence at this property is in disrepair and is not being maintained as required. There are areas which are not secure and have bent poles or posts. This is a recurrent violation of previous case number CE 18061795 and CE 19010400. This case will be presented to the special magistrate seeking a finding of fact whether the violation is corrected or not prior to the hearing date. 9-280B is complied. 9-279I, there is no stove within the kitchen of Unit 912. The tenants currently have a barbecue grill in the location where the stove should be installed.
Well, let me ask you, so you have a barbecue grill in the building?
Yeah, it was inside the actual unit, inside the kitchen. Instead of a stove.
So why don't we have the fire department look at that as well? That's gotta stop. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
People shouldn't be in that unit
I
apparently.
haven't been able to go back inside. She's since told me that that's been removed. That tenant was evicted.
Okay,
And then,
okay.
So
We'll hear-
I just have to verify
We'll
that
hear,
it's
hear from her in a minute, but that's
Mm-hmm.
extremely dangerous.
9-278G, there are several windows of Unit 912 which are missing or have damaged screens to protect against mosquitoes, flies, and other insects. 9-278C is complied. 9-276B3 is complied. 18-12A is complied. Actually, let me return 9-276B3, which is complied. I'm gonna read it in anyway because it's a recurring violation.
Okay.
There's a need for the extermination of rodents, vermin, and other pests present as observed via live insects, roaches, and droppings. This is a recurrent violation of previous case number CE 18061795 and 1812A. There is overgrowth, trash, rubbish, litter, and debris on this property and/or its swale. This is a recurrent violation of previous case number CE 18061795, CE 19010400, and CE 21060295. And those were also being presented for a finding of fact whether they complied or not. The inspection report was hand-delivered to the tenant at the time when I did the initial inspection and also mailed out to the owner listed on BCPA records on 9/25/22. A pre-hearing inspection was conducted on March 7th last week, and the violations that I listed still remained at that time. I have been in contact with the property owner. She told me this morning, before the hearing, that she says everything is in compliance now. We're requesting 28 days to come into compliance, or a $50 fine for each violation thereafter. Should give her enough time for me to go out and verify that it's complied or not.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Your name and address?
Flo James, I don't even know what he's talking about with all those things. However, I meet the things that he had listed to me.
I can't hear you.
I met the things that he had listed to me, and they're all in compliance now. And I called last week to tell him he can go and look and see everything is okay. Then I found out he doesn't work on Friday. So I told him he could go Monday because everything is done, but he couldn't go Monday. So that's the reason why I'm here today. But all those things that he's talking about is over my head. And about the stove, I couldn't rent an apartment without a stove. The people do what they want with the stove and then put in their grill in it. And I don't know.
But how did you rent an apartment with a stove that doesn't work?
Can't rent it without a stove.
I'm sorry?
You cannot rent an apartment without a stove and a refrigerator.
But you did?
No, I didn't.
So why were the people cooking?
It's tenants, and they're the ones who called him in the first place and tell him all these things and show him grill. I didn't know they had grill in there, but I was evicting them, so they're mad, and they called the code enforcement.
Okay. All right, look, you fixed a lot of these things already.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he hasn't
But
seen.
you can give me 28 days.
Hold on. He has to go back and inspect it.
Yes.
So he's gonna give you 28 days to make sure everything is done. If
Yes.
not, a fine starts, which I don't wanna get, of $50 for anything that's not done in 28 days. This property needs a lot more care than it's getting from what I'm seeing. I don't know how it looks today, but it doesn't look good here.
Well, let me tell you
Excuse me, I'm still talking. So it needs to be, you have to get on top of this property or do something that gets it done. But it cannot persist like this. Bear in mind, listen to me, please. You've got 3 different cases in the past, in years 18, 19, and 20. These are recurring violations, which means those are serious because you're not getting them done. I don't want to hear that the tenant did it. You heard me talk before that a property owner is responsible for what the tenant does. That's the way it works. If the tenant is not doing what he or she should do, then they should be evicted. Apparently, you've evicted 1 or more, so that's fine. But you can't have us tell us that the tenant did it when ultimately you as a property owner are responsible to make this safe and clean.
May I say something, please?
Absolutely.
I had a tenant living there for 29 years. He had a problem with the yard because he do demolition, and he's from Haiti, and he used to store these. And I think what happened, he and the code enforcement people had been going through these things. I didn't know anything about them. And he died, and that's when I took over the place after he died after 29 years. Now I'm finding that case from before and case from before. I didn't know anything about these cases from before. And even these now is tenant, because the place is fixed up for new tenants. One was evicted and one died.
Okay.
And both of them has on Section 8. And for Section 8 inspectors, they don't let anything pass unless it's done. So the inside was finished. The outside, this inspector said he wanted other things, and I have done them, and I told them they were done. I was not aware of my apartment don't having a stove and all those things.
Okay.
Anyway, you're giving me the 28 days so that he can go and see what else he wants.
Yes.
And I can get
Then if
it
you work
done.
with her to explain what still needs to be done. Because, again, if she didn't understand or whatever happened with notice for the prior cases, I want to start with today.
Of course.
Getting a handle on this property, because she just may need understanding clearly what you can and cannot do. But I don't want
Well,
to
Your
hear
Honor,
that-
in fairness, this property owner owns 10 other properties.
Oh, okay.
So I would hope that you would know what to do with your rentals, and I would hope that you would be inspecting them on a regular basis, because the photos depict living conditions that are really quite substandard.
Some pictures I see there is not my property. Those couldn't be my property. Yeah.
That's not your property.
Some pictures that I saw there is not my property.
All those pictures are from 9/12 and
914?
9/17. 9/14. It's two units at the property.
It's a duplex, yes.
Okay, so again, 28 days to comply. If any one or more is not in compliance, a fine starts of $50 a day,
Okay,
all right?
all right.
But he's gonna go out there and inspect to see
He
if you
can go
said,
right now.
well, when he can go back out there, he'll be there. He'll make an appointment with you.
And it's only 2 blocks from where he work. He work on 19th and the house is on 17th.
I don't know what his schedule is. He's got a lot of other properties he inspects every day. So
Yes.
yours is one of them, and
That's
yours.
why I wanted it
excuse me,
inspected yesterday.
Excuse me, and yours is important because it needs to be in compliance. But I'm not going to accept that this stays this way. If it looks like this, it's not going to. It's going to be, you're going to get fined for it. I don't want fines. I want to make sure that you have tenants like you do that can be in a place that's safe and secure. So he's going to do his inspections, and you need to do, if you own all those properties, you certainly must know what you're doing. So you can't try to beat the system. I know you're not trying to do that. You need to comply, right? Okay, 28 days, $50 per violation, if not timely comply.
After the 28 days?
28,
Okay, thank you.
okay. Yes? And finding of facts for which ones?
4734 180 92760.
Okay, that means I'm finding that he has demonstrated those violations did occur. If they're fixed, that's okay, because they're not, but they're just, I'm showing finding, that's for the ones that are complied, right? So the ones that you complied shows that they are in compliance, there's no fines for them, but I'm showing that he established they did occur in the past. If they recur, it's going to be a problem, because under the state law and the city code, repeat violations get treated much more, they're more difficult to deal with. Higher fines can be put on property that gets recurring or repeat violations. I don't want to do that. You don't want me to do that, okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Next case, page 43, Inspector Bernstein Sandberg, case number CE 22090594, case address 501 Northwest 15th Way, owner Jim Three Houses LLC. This case was first heard 1/11/23 to comply by 2/8/23. Two sections complied at $100 per day, $5,200 accrued. The city is requesting the full amount, and this is a request for extension.
Good morning. Ma'am, just want to make sure that you're waiving your rights to a master hearing.
Tell her what that means.
That means that you're not requesting the extension, that the violations and compliance that you're proceeding forward to this hearing?
Well, no, actually, not exactly correct. So, ma'am, in order for us to address the issue of the fines here today, we'd like you to waive your right to notice to a subsequent hearing. So a Massey hearing normally would be a separate hearing. You'd have to come back. We would notice you again. If you would like to address and finalize the issue of the fines today, then you would waive your right to
Give up.
give up your right to a second hearing where you would get a notice in the mail, and you don't have to come back.
I hope I understood. So I couldn't finish here, I can't finish here with because I asked for the why, for the fee, because I finished with the problem, but I can't, if I understood correctly. Sorry, I'm nervous.
So the law requires the city to have a separate hearing to address the fines.
Okay.
Which would mean normally you'd have to come back again.
Okay.
You're welcome to come back again.
Thank
We
you.
would send you a notice in the mail with a different hearing date, and you would come back to talk about the money on the case. If you would rather talk about that today,
If I can talk today,
You
I
can.
appreciate, yeah.
Yeah,
Then you give up
absolutely.
Then you give
So-
up the second hearing. You
right,
won't
so
have a
we just
second.
need to say that you're in agreement that you're not going to come back, you want to address the fines today.
Okay, I tried to do today, yeah?
Okay, so you're in
Okay.
agreement
So-
that we can talk about and
Okay.
address the fines today, and you don't need to come back.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's possible to waive the fine that I think that I have or no?
Well, first of all, let me hear what he's got to say here.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
No, that's
All
it.
right. So she owes what, 50?
Well, no, I haven't read let me go ahead and read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Case number, property address as read. This property was first heard at Special Magistrate on January 12, 2023, where Special Magistrate Ansborough ordered 28 days to comply. As of today, Section 9305A is complied, and Section 305B is complied.
Great.
Property owner requested an extension prior to the 28 days to comply. A pre-hearing inspection review violation stated is in compliance. I would like to enter the photos as evidence that show violations as depicted. The city is requesting full imposition. The property owner did contacted me prior to the 28 days. She explained to me that she's not able to get to it. She has some emergencies, and I told her, well, just so you know, we're gonna hear your case for the request, but the fine's gonna continue to run until you come into compliance. She ended up getting to compliance before the hearing date today.
Good. So the fines didn't start?
No, it did. So the
They
fines
did
are
start.
accruing.
And the fines are $5,200 as of today?
Correct,
But they
correct,
stopped?
correct.
Okay.
Excuse me, may I ask for a question? Would you like a translator?
I'm sorry?
Would you like a translator?
I prefer, because probably I didn't understand
Quintero?
exactly the two possibilities.
Can you please translate for her? Or Gus?
Sorry, I hope that I was understand.
It's no problem.
Okay,
No problem.
thank
We'd
you.
like you to understand fully the process.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
no problema.
The only that I had was help about them, so I don't want to be rude, with my
No.
not understanding. Normally I understood, but I don't know
Yeah,
what happened.
no,
Hey,
no hay
hola.
problema.
Gus?
Sí, no sé qué pasó que no
Do
entendí.
you swear and
las dos
affirm to
posibilidades.
translate truthfully from English to Spanish, Spanish to English? Thank you.
No entendí lo que me dijeron, sí, porque hay dos opciones. Una, venir después para lograr que me perdonen la multa, ¿no? Yo quisiera, si se puede hacer eso hoy, si no, no.
Yeah, she basically did not understand anything.
So,
Okay,
Gus,
what-
could you
basically,
This
she
is
wants
not
to
good.
start from the get-go. What is she waiving, and that's basically what she's.
Right, so
Okay.
Gus, if you don't mind explaining to her what waiving you heard what I said before, the second hearing to come back, she can resolve the fines today.
Básicamente, usted puede resolver los problemas hoy, pero tiene que dejar sus derechos para regresar en otra ocasión o hacer otro reclamo. Si usted quiere, usted puede resolver los problemas o los problemas de la multa hoy mismo. Quitando, pues diciendo que no quiere venir y usted no quiere venir a la próxima.
¿Perdonar la multa hoy o no?
Bueno, eso es entre usted y el juez. She's basically wants, she understands now, but she basically wants to say, hey, I just don't want the fines. That's basically what she's saying.
But, and Gus,
Waive
can
the
you
fines.
explain to her, she can come back if she would like. It's her choice.
Si usted
To hear it
quiere-
today, or,
Si usted quiere, usted puede quedarse aquí y puede explicarle al juez y el juez va a determinar si le quitan las multas o no. Si no, usted puede regresar también
No,
y en
prefiero
otra ocasión.
hacerlo. Prefiero hacerlo hoy, si puedo terminar hoy con
She would
esto.
prefer today, and
Yeah,
if it can be
hacerlo
done today.
Okay,
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
in this one, I have the
I-
ability to reduce the fine if I chose.
Entonces, aquí
Okay.
el juez lo
Yes,
que
sir.
hace es
And then,
reducir las
Inspector,
multas
how
que
long does it
quiere
take to get this
dependiendo de la
done?
situación que
Oh, it tells me right here, 33 days for one, 19 for the other, right?
Correct.
Okay, so
Your Honor, ma'am.
she's
if-
your honor.
I'm sorry, Magistrate. I think she does not understand why she's here, and I would like, if I can explain to her with Bernstein what the situation is, because I
You
think she
want
does
to,
not
recall it?
understand.
Take some time, go outside?
Vamos a ir afuera para que usted más o menos entienda qué es lo que está pasando y usted y explicarle con más detalle, ¿le parece?
Sí, sí.
I think that would be a good idea. We want to make sure
Okay.
she understands
Sorry,
the
I took
process.
the delay, but, okay.
Yeah.
No,
I'll
no
explain
hay
to her with
problema.
Bernstein.
Okay.
and
Yeah,
we're gonna
then
go
we'll put it on
Yeah.
recall.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Next case, page 22. Inspector Diego Santos. Case number CE 22100132. Case address 2449 Southwest 7th Street. Owner Nikki 2449 LLC. Posted at property 22223. Posted at City Hall 22823.
Good morning, your magistrate,
Inspector Diego Santos, representing the city of Lauderdale. The case, as read it, on November 15, 2022, I inspected the property, and that's the violations I observed. 9-304B, driveway maintenance. The driveway is not being maintained at the property. Some areas of the concrete in the driveway are broken, cracked. There are weeds growing through it, and it's dirty and have stains. 9-305B, the landscape maintenance. The landscape of this property is not being maintained in a neat and well-kept appearance. There are areas of dead and missing ground cover in the front of the property. 9-306 was complied. As March 12, 2023, the property remains in violation as predicted by the photos. This time, the city is requesting 35 days for the property owner to come into compliance, or $25 per day per violation thereafter.
Okay. What about the vehicles parking on the grass?
The parking on the grass, it was resolved. There's no parking on the grass anymore.
So that's in compliance?
That is in compliance,
And that's
yes.
a finding of facts for that?
I'm sorry?
Are we doing finding of facts for those?
No.
No, okay, all right. All right, yes, sir. Your name and address?
Hi, my name is Alex Barbalat.
Okay.
Alexander Barbalat.
All right, are you
I'm an owner.
owner of the LLC or one of the owners?
I'm owner of, well, my wife's second owner.
Okay, all right.
So what, just question, what is not in compliance as of now? I thought you were in the property yesterday, correct?
I was in the property on Sunday. And it's still actually, there is, instead of putting ground cover, you put gravel in there. I was going to talk to you about that. That is not allowed. And then I specific send you an email with depicting the areas that you need to put grass. And as you can see in the photo, right now, instead of, you put grass in some areas, but that area, in the swell area, you put gravel, and that is not allowed.
So it's only one problem, there is a gravel.
The gravel and the driveway.
Driveway is painted, and actually, no, everything is patched and painted in the driveway.
Well, as I visited on Sunday, it was not painted. I see that was patched, but I can do another inspection, and then we can get that resolved.
So driveway to paint, if it's not painted, and it is actually, and gravel to be removed and put grass.
Yes, it needs to be grass.
Okay.
And as we spoke, if you need to do a driveway with gravel, you would need to get a permit with the city.
So for gravel, so I can put gravel, but I need a permit for the city. Is it correct?
Well, how much gravel, is there a certain amount of gravel you can put?
Well, in the swell area, actually, they're not allowed to have gravel unless they had for the past 10 years and the city did not cite it. But in this situation, he needs to have, in the swell area needs to have gravel. And if there's anything that within grass, I'm sorry, it needs to have grass. And if he wants to do a gravel driveway, because the property has space for it, however, that needs to be brought to the city for approval by engineering for him to be able to do that.
For gravel, engineering?
For the drive, like if you want to do a driveway, so you need to have the permit.
No, I don't want to do driveway there. I just want to cover part of my lawn with the gravel, and it's like a design. So I'm asking if you want to put like a Japanese garden.
He'll come back there. I'm not sure you can do a Japanese garden down there, but.
Or whatever. So what's the problem?
So if he's, once again, Stephanie Bass for the city of Fort Lauderdale. So if the question is being asked of in reference to gravel in the right-of-way, gravel in the right-of-way, a certain percentage is allowed. It's not that it's not allowed, it's just that you have to get a variance from engineering to make sure, go through the engineering department to make sure that variance is allowed and the percentage of gravel does not exceed the amount that you're allowed to have in the right-of-way. But you just have to go through the correct permitting process and get the correct variance in order to have it there.
For driveway. What about if I want to put gravel on part of my lawn?
For your lawn, has to make sure that if it's for decorative purposes, you can have it for decorative purposes, and it cannot exceed a certain percentage as well.
Okay.
On your property as well.
Then the issue is resolved because the gravel put not on the driveway, gravel put on a part of the lawn. So what is the issue? I don't understand.
gonna
So
have-
for
I'm
your entire property, you should have at least for your property, you should, 40% of your property should be at least landscaping. So the other percentage that you have, that you're gonna have for any type of gravel, it's supposed to be for like decorative purposes, only around your landscaping material for decorative purposes for your gravel. Anything other than that, if you're using gravel as a driveway or something of that
Not
sort,
driveway.
then that would have to be, go through
No.
the process of
Well,
not
this
exceeding
picture
the
shows a
amount.
car parking on the gravel. She
Well-
says no.
No, I know, people cannot park on the grass as well. As a matter of fact, the notice said that to remove the cars that park on the driveway, and this actually violates tenants' right, because I cannot go and remove their cars. It's illegal. At best, it is misdemeanor to remove someone's cars.
Well, the
And
city
that's
has-
what- that's what the
But you
law
and,
says.
you and your wife are the property owners. So you're
Yes.
the landlords.
Yes.
So you have to tell the tenant to comply. Do you have a lease?
Yes,
All right, you have to tell them under the lease, you can't do what you're doing.
I can, and I
And
can
if,
evict
excuse
them, as
me,
you
and
said.
excuse me, and if they don't, then you're gonna have to evict them or do what you need to do. But I want you to be able to please explain to him, not right now, what he can do. It doesn't sound like gravel like he's got it here.
The city has certain swell requirements, and those swell requirements has to be met. It's a certain slope that has to be met as well as far as the swell requirements. It's a certain percentage that cannot be exceeded as far as gravel, so you need to go through the permitting process first, which would start at going to engineering to show them what you're planning on doing on this well to see if that is approved or not. So that hasn't happened yet. So for the amount of time that it is requiring here, that we're asking for, what was your original dates you were asking for compliance prior to this?
35 days.
I don't think it even requires that because it's the amount of removing that. So we're doing 21 days. So we're gonna give you 21 days in order to get with the correct discipline at the city of Fort Lauderdale. You can go to the city of Fort Lauderdale, speak to the engineering department there, show them what you're doing, what you want to do with this well, see if that's approval, what type of variance or permit is required for that work to be on this well. So we'll give you 21 days to do that. And if not, the fines will begin at $25 per day until that is corrected.
I don't understand this
That's
because,
right, he doesn't understand what, it's very
Because-
complex.
first of all, it says
He
remove all
needs-
vehicles from the
excuse
law.
me,
From the
He's
law.
gonna need someone, he's gonna
You-
need a place,
you-
excuse me. You're
Okay.
gonna need someone to direct him to a place where the address is, what to do. You can help him do that, so he knows what to do. But he's talking about decorative things. He's not on board with understanding all those things.
Exactly.
It's too
And that's fine,
sophisticated.
Magistrate. We can have someone meet him out to the property and show him exactly what he's in
Exactly.
violation of and
That's what we
exactly
need
what
to
needs
do.
to be
Yes,
done.
please. Okay. So hold on. At 21 days to go to the engineering department. They're going to tell you who to go and talk to, what you can and cannot do with the gravel. If you don't do this, it's going to be a fine of $25 a day every day you haven't done that. I told you before, don't want the money. You need to go talk to the engineer.
I have questions.
Yes.
I have questions, and I
I
have a
don't-
few
I'm not sure I
questions.
And
have
the
the
questions
answers.
are directed.
No. Questions in regards to this. It says remove all vehicles from the lawn. This violates tenant rights. I cannot enforce or remove vehicles from the lawn. If it was said,
Let me
tell
answer-
tenants
let
to
me answer
remove
that
it
for you.
or evict them, it would be one thing. Let me speak a couple
Well,
of
yeah, but I
minutes.
already answered that question. I don't-
Well,
I've
no,
got other
no,
people
but
waiting.
it should say, tell your tenants to remove your cars or be evicted. But you cannot say remove our vehicles.
No, no.
No, it
because
doesn't
work
this
that
is
way,
sir.
illegal.
It's your
illegal to
property.
say.
It doesn't work
It's your
that way.
property.
You're
I
the
cannot
property.
remove someone else's belongings as a tenant from my property. It's
I-
one thing.
You need to speak to a lawyer and
I-
talk
I
to your
spoke
lawyer about
I spoke to
enforcing a
lawyer.
lease.
I cannot do this. I cannot, it's one thing. Second thing, I would like to talk about 14th Amendment, about equal rights. That was, I believe, put in the law in 1868. 14th Amendment, about equal rights under the law. My house is the best maintained house on the street, and violation got only me. I spent half an hour talking to inspector about me, and he told me that he got a list of which properties to inspect. So, creating such a list, it's a violation of 14th Amendment, and I need to know under sunshine law who and how this list is created, under what conditions, and how properties are selected for this list to be inspected
I can go over
ticketed.
that with him. I can go over that with him, Magistrate.
Please.
When the next inspection is conducted, I'll make sure that I go to the property with the inspector to
Excellent.
make sure that he understands everything that he's been cited for. I'll
Okay.
also make sure he understands the measure in which violations are called in and how proactive enforcement is done.
Okay.
Also, with the violation for the parking on the lawn, that's already in compliance, so that's not even before us today. But I'll make sure that the neighbor is aware of how our enforcement
But
procedures
he
work.
needs to understand that because the tenant wouldn't do it, he's still responsible as the
He's
landlord.
absolutely still
You
he's
gotta make, you
responsible
gotta
for it
make
as
the
the owner.
tenant do that. So we're not going, the city's not gonna go on the property and tow the vehicles. If you don't have your tenant do what it's supposed to, because you're making rent from the property, then the fines go against you and your wife. We don't want to do that. Can't have people parking on the lawn. Secondly, you can't have a vehicle with lettering on it like that, a commercial vehicle in that property, right? You can't have that
That's
either.
correct.
So please explain to him what he can and cannot do. We're not gonna do it here.
My question was not asked about how that list of which property selectively being.
And the
being
supervisor
She said she's
also
gonna
already
talk to you about
said
that.
she was going to
She's going
explain
to
that
meet
to
them.
you.
I retired
think the
from the
hearing's
city.
over, sir.
Let me just, I understand how city works, how government works. I
Okay.
retired from city and county of San Francisco,
Okay.
and I know how things work.
Then you shouldn't have any
What I do
questions.
not want in this city to be selectively choose some properties over the other ones, because it's illegal, it's immoral. Government here is
Okay,
to protect
okay,
people.
all right, listen to me. You're done talking.
I am
You
not
can-
done talking.
You're done talking, because I'm saying you're done talking. You're done. And now she will meet you there. We're not here about Fourth Amendment, sunshine law.
14th Amendment.
Excuse me. She's going to talk to you about what you can and cannot do. You find selective enforcement, you won't find that, but you can look if you want. They'll explain how they do their process. You may not agree with it, but it doesn't matter, because they'll explain to you why it's fair and even-handed, not that you're picked on.
As long as fair and
Okay,
even-handed is
now the
great.
hearing is over. Now the hearing is over. Next case. 21 days, $25 if not done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Recalling case number CE 22090594, page 43, Inspector Bernstein Sandberg, case address 501 Northwest 15th Way, owner Jim Three Houses LLC. This case was first heard 1/11/23 to comply by 2/8/23. Two sections complied at $100 per day, $5,200 accrued. City is requesting the full amount, and this was a request for extension.
Okay, what was the page again?
Page 43.
43, thank you, ladies.
Entonces,
All right,
usted
wait.
ya no quiere la
Yes.
extensión y ahora lo que quiere es pagar.
What do we got?
Yes, she understands now. She doesn't want the extension. She actually wants to come about with the fee and reduction, yes.
Wait, wants to do what?
The fine, she wants to reduce the fine. She's waiving the.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
All right, so she had 33 days for the landscaping it took to fix it, another 19 for the things on the right of way. The fine is $5,200.
$5,200 es la multa. Okay.
I can reduce this, right?
Yes, admin cost is $683.16.
All right. And she was cooperative when she understood it?
Well, are you aware
When-
the
when
admin
you-
cost is $683.16?
El costo de administración son $682. Eso depende del juez.
Okay, I'm going to reduce it to the admin cost. So explain to her, that's for his time. That's $683 and change.
16 cents.
And 16 cents. Don't forget that.
683.16 centavos es lo que tiene que pagar, que es el costo administrativo.
Instead of $5,200.
En vez de $5,200.
I understand, I appreciate. And where do I have to pay that?
They're going to send you an order in the mail.
Le van a mandar una carta
Thank you
por
so
correo
much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
con las instrucciones.
So I will understand writing, and I had learned a lot of here and here.
That's okay. Thanks for being
Thank you
patient.
so much. No,
And
thank
I'm
you
glad
for
you
your
fixed the
help.
property. The property looks good.
Y gracias por haber.
Next case, page 29. Inspector Wanda Aquavella, case number SE 22120136, case address 1225 Northwest 6th Avenue, owner Adrian Donnell Wallace.
Good morning, Wanda Aquabella for the city. Case and address is read. The property was first inspected on 12/14/22. Pictures were taken, the notice was posted. It was re-inspected on 12/16/22. Again, pictures were taken, and I sent my driver out to remove it on 12/19/22. Don't need it, but thanks. Go ahead.
Okay, now this is a cost to the city that was already paid by the
Yes,
city.
it's a hard cost to the city.
somebody else to do this work.
The city did the work, and
The city did the work.
yes.
Okay. Yes, sir, your name and address?
Yes, Adrian Wallace, 1225 Northwest 6th Avenue. And I'm just asking for a reduction, not Your Honor, I'm sorry, Mr.
That's all right. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's wrong. Don't use it, Your Majesty. It's too much.
No, I'll be honest, it was just ignorance of the law on my part.
That's all right. That's all right.
And someone actually ripped off the notice on the front door, so I didn't also see it. And also considering the fact that I also had scheduled bulk pickup out of my own pocket as well. If I had known, I would have combined the both. So just asking for a reduction based on ignorance of the law on my part.
That's all right. So this is 240, not contracted to a contractor, but the city did it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I could reduce it if I wish to. Is it, 240 hard costs of the city doing this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's the problem. It's out of pocket for the city. I don't want the taxpayers to have to pay it, even though you made a mistake.
Okay.
So it'll be $240.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next two cases are for the same owner. First case is on page 43. Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr., case number CE 22080008, case address 2312 Northwest 6th Place. Owner Anthony Lewis Thomas, Serena Thomas, and all others. First heard 12/13/22 to comply by 2/14/23. Two sections not complied at $25 per day, $1,400 accrued. The fines continue to accrue. This is a request for extension. Next case, page 44. Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr., case number CE 22080005, case address 2308 Northwest 6th Place. Owner Anthony Lewis Thomas. First heard 12/13/22 to comply by 2/14/23. Five sections not complied at $25 per day, $3,500 accrued, and the fines continue to accrue. This also is a request for extension.
All right, now what does a request for extension mean in this case? I'm not clear.
So the property was given time to comply, Inspector Quintero Jr. on behalf of the city, sorry. The property was given time to comply. That time expired. It started to accrue fines, and now the owner, he needs more time to comply. So he's asking for an extension with a stay of the fines so that he can complete, the necessary repairs to the violations that remain.
I saw this before, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, I recognize that thing.
So I did inspect the property a couple weeks back on 2/23, and there's progress being made. I actually drove by yesterday, and I saw, he's got a good portion of the driveway done, and
Good.
He's in the process, so
Okay.
I wouldn't be opposed to an extension. He has been communicated with me, and he's trying. He's
Okay,
on
that's important to hear. How much time do we think we need to get this finished, do you think?
Mr. Thomas.
Let's say
Tell me your name and address for the record, sir.
My name is Anthony Thomas.
Okay. How much time do you think you need to finish all this up? Because you're making progress, which is good.
Yes.
Since I last saw you.
Yes.
A month?
Yes, I go for the month. Yes.
What would we have, 30 days or 30, more than 30? All right, so we do 28 days, because that's what they have on their calendar, okay?
Yes.
28 days, and we'll stop the fines
Yes.
now, right? But there's still fines on here that we'll have to
Yes,
deal with later.
fines already
They're
began to
already
accrue.
agreed. So you already have fines for all these things.
How
but
much?
We're gonna worry about those later. Right now, one's $3,500, one's $1,400, almost $5,000. And what does he do for that? Does he have to go through the lien reduction thing, or can he come back to me?
So, Your Honor, the case is not in compliance yet, so at the time
can't
of
even come
compliance, right, you have to, we can address the fines once
Okay,
he's
so
in
when you're in
compliance.
compliance, I could possibly reduce the fines.
Yes, sir.
Because I'll be inclined to do that if you get this finished for us, okay? I want to work with you like you're working with us to make it look good again, all right?
Thank you.
All right, sir. So that's what we'll do. We'll give you the extension, 28 days.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Next case, page 35, Inspector Dorian Cologne, case number CE 21110176, case address 2828 East Sunrise Boulevard, owner Sunrise FTL Ventures LLLP, first heard 11122 to comply by 21522 and 71922. Two suspensions noted on the agenda, one section not complied at $50 per day, $3,100 accrued. One section complied at $50 per day, $10,450 accrued, $13,550 total accrued. City is requesting the full amount. The fines continue to accrue, and this is in order to reappear.
Okay.
Good morning again. Senior Inspector Cloyan, City, Fort Lauderdale, case number CE 21110176, case address 2828 East Sunrise Boulevard. This case was first heard on January 11th, 2022, where the magistrate found in favor of the city and ordered 35 days to comply or $50 a day for Section 9306 and 189 days for Section 47-20-20H or $50 per day thereafter. For all other violations. The case was heard again on 9/13/2022, and Special Magistrate Purdy granted a 175-day extension on this on violation 47-20.20H, which is the parking area. A 14-day extension was also given for the 9306 and an order to reappear. So, just to give you a little bit of a background, so they own the property all the way like down the block from 7-Eleven all the way down. This particular case is only on one of the parcels, and there is a development permit in for that was approved for a site plan. So they're going to be redeveloping that whole area. So when we came to the hearing in the beginning, I did ask them to get the exterior taken care of, which is complied. But it left the parking facility. We did agree on giving them an extension in hopes that they would be underway with their planning and so on and so forth. So unfortunately, they haven't gotten to that point yet. So that's why the city is asking for the imposition of fines and which continue to accrue. So, and there's also some other fines that were that are in compliance, but there are fines on the exterior as well. And last but not least, I would just like to ask for the photos to be entered for the record.
Okay. Are there still derelict vessels, vehicles, or both?
So the reason why those pictures were in there was to show you why we, came about this whole area and what was going on. So in the beginning, yes, it was like kind of like a dumping ground. There was all kinds of trailers and boats and so on and so on and so forth. So that was all resolved, and the developers have been like phenomenal, keeping up the property, even though we get complaints all the time. The property, for it being vacant, is being kept very well.
But the parking lot is awful.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the parking lots. I just didn't open up the other cases because there was just the parking area. I did believe there was some restriping done, but the area here that we're talking about is a small area. It's just around the building.
Okay. And it's vacant.
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
Although I think there is, I'm not sure with there's some, so they do have an agreement with part of the back part, which I don't even know if that's part of that parcel, to allow people from the condo in the rear to utilize it as parking. And they have some sort of construction going on, so they've actually closed off a section of that. I don't know if that's part of that parcel or not. It might be a little bit, and I'm not sure.
That is part of it.
Yeah, to the extent of how far, because they have construction going on, and they have like a whole area that they've.
Construction for the redevelopment?
No, for a different condo. So
Are they allowed to use his property to do that?
they have an agreement, I believe.
But I'm saying, does the city allow that?
Well, I sent something in for a building, the building department to address it. I think it was allowed, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And there is a permit and everything, so.
Okay. All right, yes, sir, your name and address?
Michael Belkin, I represent the developer. And address, do you want the owner entity address or personal?
You and then the developer.
Sure, so personal address is 1170 101st Street, apartment 501 in Bay Harbor Islands. And the owner is 150 Southeast 2nd Avenue, Unit 801 in Miami.
Okay, are you an attorney or what?
No,
Okay.
I work for
A representative, okay.
Yes.
So what is he seeking here?
So the city would just, because of the fact that we don't really have a timeline, development could go on
Take
and
forever,
on and
yeah,
on.
if ever, yeah.
Exactly. So what the city is, we just want the fines to be imposed, which continue to accrue, and then, you know, he can deal with, once it gets into compliance with any kind of mitigation on the fines.
Okay. So this one's 13,550 and continues to accrue daily. Right? Yes, sir.
Hi, thank you. So as the senior inspector stated, we've been trying to pay a lot of attention to the property. You know, we've been, and some of the properties even nearby, you know, we've boarded up, here just a picture, we boarded up as they were requested. We've had graffiti over the walls. We paint over, you know, every couple of weeks. We have a handyman there every day cleaning up trash. I personally have met with Sunrise East, the neighbor, a few weeks ago to go over their complaints on trash and homelessness. Actually, just yesterday, we found a cart for a new homeless person that was there. So we are doing everything we can to address this property as much as feasible. You know, redoing the asphalt is the one thing that we've been holding off on because that is by far the most expensive thing for us to do. One, it's just not easy to get asphalt these days. And two, just to mill and pave and restripe is going to cost a lot of money. We've spent, with the handyman BJM Construction, over $23,000 to date, and that doesn't even include some invoices that I'm waiting from him on. So I think we're making every effort we can. I just would like to hold off on the sidewalk for as long as possible, because that's just a much bigger cost for us to front at this moment. And
Have you entered into a closing with the developer?
No, so we are the developer. We have site plan approval.
So you've bought it from somebody else?
Correct.
Okay.
And
you're working towards a redevelopment of some sort of structures here?
Yes, it's going to be 2 towers. One is hotel and one is going to be condominium.
Okay. And how far are you in the permit process, or whatever you're doing?
So we achieved site plan approval. That happened probably around last summer. I don't remember the date offhand. I apologize. Yeah, right now we are in the process of the design development phase, and the reason this has been taking a little bit longer than this typically takes is because the way this was designed is that our parking structure is underground, and the pricing that we got from that is just astronomical. So we've had to kind of go back to the drawing board and see how we can make this work, with the intention of making it work. So that's why this is taking longer. Once we finish the construction documents, which is, I would say, maybe 6 to 9 months away from here, then we can apply for permit. So it is a ways out. I admit that, but we're doing everything that we can to keep the property as safe as possible. Knowing the relationship with the other neighbors, if we have one section that's going to be brand new, they're going to complain to make the rest brand new. It's a very large area overall. So we have been patching where we see that there have been divots or any potential trip hazards with asphalt that we're buying at Home Depot to make our best efforts. But we're just the one thing we're asking for an extension on is just to do the repavement.
So, Your Honor, I think part of the conundrum is, as you saw from the pictures, this is going back to November 2021, and appreciate the forthrightness of the property rep, but it's probably going to be another 2 years or so before they get, or more, based on what he's representing, that it's going to be addressed. So it's a bit of a conundrum to allow a condition like that to
persist for another 2 years.
Yeah, which could, we could be
How
looking
far
at
are you
5
away-
years.
How far are
the
you away
original
from
time.
demolition and grassing over the property?
Well, I mean, until we get further along in our construction drawings, we're not gonna pull the demo permit because I don't have my demo drawings yet. So
You don't have
I
what?
would say because we don't have the demolition drawings yet. I mean, I would say if we can get an extension for a year, I think that would be that
I'm
would
not,
allow us
no,
to
I'm not
get
gonna,
there.
I'm not gonna do a year. I'm gonna let the fines run, and then if you get to the point where you've been making progress, then you can come back for a lien reduction, or if I have the ability to reduce it, and I'm told that you've been working with them, and they are inclined to recommend a reduction, I'll do that without going through the lien process, right? But, no, 2 years is not acceptable. I know, how hard it is to get stuff developed there, but we can't leave it in this condition for 2 years. That's not gonna happen. So we're gonna have to be able to tell the commission that we're on top of it by imposing a fine that is continuing to run. The faster you get it demolished, you can get it demolished without having to do the other stuff. Get it demolished and grass it over like everybody else does.
Understood. We can, is there a certain, can you stay the fine for?
I don't want to.
I understand.
I don't see a reason to do it when we've already gone for a year and a half here, and now you're here in March. It started in November of '21.
The photos, Your Honor, if you can see that are being shown on the screen, show pictures
Of
going back to
11,
November
21.
2021.
So it's already been a year. So why do we have to have the neighborhood look at this for another year without knowing that there's some pressure on the developer to get this done? And my advice is demo it and grass it. I've seen it, I do this for a lot of different cities, and that's what people do, rather than face fines running and the risk of fines, and somebody else sitting here saying no, because that could happen. Take it out, clear the property, and grass it in. It's unacceptable to leave it like this. I know you're doing your best to keep it clean, taking care of other issues, graffiti, unwelcome visitors, but it can't persist this way. So you tell me what you want to do in light of that. I'm not gonna stay the fine.
Well, when I met with as I mentioned, the president of Sunrise East, and his concern to me was not the parking lot, because they actually are using a portion of the parking lot, including where this area is, for 2828. His concern was the trash, mostly coming from 7-Eleven, understanding that even if it's not my trash, I'm responsible for it. So we've addressed that trash by having,
I get that, but we're not here about the trash. You gotta do that anyhow, or you're gonna get cited for that. So you're on top of things you need to be on top of, which is the graffiti, people on the property that are not trespassing. But this, you're not giving me a solution, and I don't have a solution for you. I can't just say, okay, another year to get plans and then another year to build it or more, and it stays like this.
Would you be able to give us a 6-month stay on the fines?
No.
Magistrate, like I said, sorry to interrupt you. When we first went out there, yes, there were other violations, and we addressed everything. So the parking lot was part of that. And yes, they've been doing really well with the trash. However, we get complaints on this property all the time. So, by giving an extension, example, like he was talking about the site plan, it was approved last year. So it's almost going into a year with nothing going on. So I agree with what you said, if they're not gonna do that, just to go ahead and demo it and put the grass in. If not, if he wants to just do that area and gain compliance, we can, discuss the lien reduction as far as any mitigation. And, or he could, it's up to him if he wants to let it run and then deal with it later. That's
All right, so
entirely.
do you understand the options? Because I'm not gonna stay the fine. It's too much time has already passed and days keep running, nothing's getting done. I know you're saying things are being done, nobody sees it. People that drive on this road don't see it.
I understand the options.
Okay, all right. Well, that's what we'll do. We'll just allow it to continue to accrue, but I'm willing to work with you to reduce it if we get a development here that is good for you and the city. The faster the better. I don't know why you can't just demo it and grass it, but that's your choice.
The issue with this demoing and grassing it at this point is we have to wait to get construction financing to get that moving, and that's very difficult in this
Demolition,
environment.
I don't know how big this building is, but it can't be that big of a deal.
No, it's not the building. It's if we demo, the issue is the sidewalk. Is the asphalt. Are you asking us to demo the entire asphalt at that point?
Yeah, you'd have to dig up the asphalt, get one of those devices in there that chews it up,
and
hauls it off, and you put grass there.
For an acre and a half of asphalt, it's a lot of asphalt. So that's why we're waiting. We'd have to get construction financing in place, it's not the best interest rate environment to do that at this point in time.
Well,
So that's why we were just waiting. till we get a
Leaving
little
it like
further
this is
along.
unacceptable, unless you can come up with maybe perhaps be open to other ideas. You might be able to fashion something. don't
I
know
mean,
what that-
again, I think it would just be easier to comply the violation. It'd
Yeah.
probably be a lot cheaper to go in there, repair it, repaint it, restripe it, and be done with it. And then we can go, address it on a lien reduction hearing, you know, to, what you're talking about and what he's talking about. The development is not just that building. There's, I believe, a couple buildings and a small strip mall. So it's a huge area. It's just this violation or this case is on one of the parcels, not all of them. So he would only be required to do this parcel, which is going to be a lot, you know, less costly for him. But, I mean, it's up to him what he wants to do. The city is not
how many
going to give
spaces
any more
roughly do you think-
extensions.
How many parking spaces roughly do you think they've got there?
Say again?
How many parking spaces roughly are on the site that's involved?
So the strip mall, I think there's probably 5 or 6 businesses, I'm not sure. And then there's two buildings. There's this one and another one to the east of it. And then I think 2 other parking areas. So it's pretty long. I don't know the exact,
I don't recall the number offhand.
It's pretty big, though.
it's pretty large, yes. It's
Okay.
from I'm not sure if you're familiar with the area. It's from behind 7-Eleven all the way up to the
7-Eleven
condo.
7-Eleven where, by St. Anthony's? or-
Right there on Sunrise Boulevard, right before the beach. By the,
Before the beach?
yeah,
Okay.
east of the Intercoastal, before the beach.
Okay, now I got it.
So it's that whole mall, that strip mall, going all the way back to the condos is the developing area.
Okay. Well, this has been, I don't know, I'm gonna let it run,
So your order, Your Honor, is to impose the fines?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Knowing that I'll work with you on reducing them if you can get some movement here.
Okay, thank you.
Take back to my suggestion about how to do it. Maybe you've already considered that, but I've seen it done in many other cities. Rather than put up with it, they know they're gonna do something. They've got site plan approvals, and rather than do that, the worst thing they have to do is mow the lawn.
Okay, understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next case, page 29. Inspector Wanda Aquavella, case number SE 22120086, case address 1129 Northeast 15th Street, owner 1129 Northeast 15th Street LLC.
Thank you for your patience.
Thanks a lot.
Good morning again. Wanda Aquavella for the city. Case and address is read. The property was cited on 12/8/22. There was bulk trash out front. I took pictures and posted notice on the property. I re-inspected on 12/12/22. The trash was still there, took additional pictures, sent my driver out to remove it on 12/13/22. Pictures were also taken by him.
Okay. Yes, sir. Name and address? Your name?
1129 Northeast 15th Street. My name is Nathan Gedalia. I'm the owner.
Okay, and this is,
I
What-
saw,
hold on, this is money the city spent to clean it
Yes,
up?
sir.
Otherwise, the taxpayers are paying this.
if it is my fault, I have no problem paying it because it's cost to the city. That's not the issue. The issue is that if you can see here, okay, we remove bulk trash, which is opposite the gate of the building, okay? Furthermore, all the trash cans, okay, are labeled, okay, with the number of the building. The bulk trash that was removed was posted on the border of the property with the adjacent one, and the trash can was not our building. If it would have been our building, I have no problem paying it, but it's not. That's the reason why I came.
This wasn't for the containers, it's for the bulk trash.
Yes,
The thing not in the container.
I understand.
And that's not your trash?
No, it is the border building. The reason is I was on that day in the building for an inspection, and I saw it, and I asked the tenants, nobody said anything about it. okay? It is not our
This
trash.
picture, can you look at the picture? Is that on your property? Is that stuff on your property? Can you see the picture somewhere? Where's the picture?
See, it's right on the border of the property. And the reason is, it's because this trash can and that trash can and all that, it's right on the border. Right here is the gate, that's where they're removing it. Now, my gate is way over there. There's no way that I'm putting out bulk trash and hauling it all the way to the electric.
So we believe it's his violation or not? I wanna-
Yes, sir, it's in violation. The
But
brown
it's- but
fence
is it-
belongs to him, and that's his property line, and it's on his swale.
That's, the picture I see is that it's on your property line. The black car is on another property, then there's a fence and a walkway and a big light post or whatever it is, and all the bulk trash is there on your property. So again, like I was saying to people, I'm sorry, this is how it works though. When people do bad things to your property as a property owner, you're stuck with it, whether it's graffiti, dumping, leaving cars in the yard.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Next case, page 16, Inspector Bernstein Sandberg. Case number CE 22080328, case address 1620 Northwest 7th Street, owner Roberto Morisal, posted at property 21323, posted at City Hall 22823.
I'm sorry, what page was it?
Page 16.
Okay. Okay, I got it. 1 second, sir. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, City of Fort Lauderdale Code Inspector Bernstein Sandberg. Case number CE 22080328, property address 1620 Northwest 7th Street. Property was inspected in August 10th, 2022 for the following violations. 9-280H1, the fence at this property is in disrepair and is not being maintained as required. There are parts of the chain link fence that are bent, broken, and have holes. 47-34.1.8.1, there is an illegal land use occurring at this RS8 zone property. This is a non-permitted land use in this RS8 zone, included but not limited to a treadmill, chairs, tires, boxes, buckets, and other miscellaneous items. 9-306, the exterior building walls has not been maintained. There are areas of the exterior that have stains included but not limited to the front wall of the property. 9-304B, the concrete driveway is painted. However, the paved blocks that are on the west side of the property are spread out and are not allowed. I did spoke to the property owner. He can speak to building department regarding if he's allowed to put some gravel on that section. A pre-hearing inspection revealed the violation stated is not in compliance. I would like to enter the photos as evidence that show violations as depicted. The city is requesting 28 days to comply or a fine of $100 per day per violation.
Okay. And this came to you, what time, the first notice of violation?
Repeat that again.
When did this come to your attention to give a notice?
It came to my attention in August, but unfortunately, there were some issues with trying to get it to the hearing, the last month hearing, and we couldn't do that, so we had
Okay.
to schedule it again and put it on this agenda.
Okay, but none of these have been corrected?
The driveway has been painted.
Painted blue, I saw that, okay.
Yeah, but he has some blocks which he can, if the
Yeah, I
building,
saw that on
if
the
the
right.
building department is okay, he can put some gravel for parking,
Okay.
et cetera.
All right, yes, sir, name and address?
Roberto Mariso, 1620 Northwest 7th Street.
Okay, he's gonna give you 28 days to get these other things resolved, okay?
Yes, sir. I was hoping that for the grass, I can get more days because it's not, I was waiting for the summer because it rained more in the summer. So to give the grass a little bit more time to survive.
You're gonna do like the rest of us do and use a hose
Which one?
for grass,
Which grass do you use?
whatever grass that Home Depot sells.
Okay.
You get those big pieces of sod. I'm having trouble with it now because we haven't had rain, so I'm gonna have to go out there. I don't have a sprinkler system. I'm renting a house, so I have to hand water it, which I'm not happy about, but that's what I'm gonna have to do.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 28 days to do these things, okay?
Yes, sir.
Again, if any one or more are not done, then a fine starts of $100 a day. You heard me say over and over, we don't want the money, we just want the compliance, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The thing is, I don't live there. The tenant that lived there, when I used to live there, I used to take care of the property, you know, normally. But now that I'm not there, people park in the swell like 24/7. The grass outside is, you know, is dying, and the front, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff in the front. I gave them since I got this, and before that, I told them you can't put stuff in the front like this. And I came, like, I see that car, how that car is parked. It's crazy because I don't know how you fit that car in there like that, and you're not
Well,
supposed
you
to.
still
put a car like
you have this fence to deal with, you have those
Yes.
paver blocks to deal
The
with.
fan was good. The fan it was good.
And the fence has been fixed?
No, it hasn't been fixed yet, but before it was good. Before
Okay,
that,
we're talking
so-
about today, though. Whatever it was in the past, doesn't really matter.
Right.
It looks really bad now, and it's dangerous because it's got a big pipe sticking out. That
Yes,
would-
sir.
If somebody walked into it, it'd be very dangerous.
Yes, sir.
So 4 weeks to get it done, a fine of $100 per day for anything that's not done. Let's just try to get it done, okay?
Yes, sir.
You can't leave the stuff out in that carport, right? That's the point. That stuff that's stored outside there, that's like outdoor storage, right?
Correct.
And even though it's a tenant, your tenant has to move it then, because you're the property owner,
Yes.
okay? Just tell them what they need to do. Otherwise, you end up holding the bag for them. Like I've told other people, that's what you do with a tenant. You have to make sure the tenant does what you tell them to do
Yes, sir.
under their lease. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for being patient.
Thank you. I'll be there.
You too.
Next case, page 40. Inspector Karen Proto. Case number CE 22060218, case address 2468 Northwest 26th Avenue. Owner Barbara J. Parker. This case was first heard 1/11/23 to comply by 2/8/23. 4 sections not complied at $25 per day, $3,400 accrued. The city is requesting the full amount, and the fines continue to accrue.
Good afternoon, your magistrate.
Good
Oh, it's
afternoon.
now. Oh, she got
Yes.
that one in there, didn't she?
Inspector Proto for the City of Fort Lauderdale. Case and address is read into the records. The case came before the special magistrate on 11/9/22, where evidence was presented and found for the city, where a 91-day extension was granted. These violations were first cited on 6/10/22. A total of 10 inspections were made on the property. The case is not in compliance. The city is recommending full imposition of fines.
Yes, ma'am. Your name
Well,
and-
what
hold on,
happened?
Hold on.
Oh.
Name and address, please.
Beg pardon?
Your name
Barbara Parker,
and your address.
2468 Northwest 26th Avenue.
Okay, they gave you 3 months to get this done, and you haven't done anything.
I've
What
been
happened?
I've been working on everything. I had paid $2,000 get stucco put on my house before I painted. I did painted the driveway, filled the driveway in. I moved the cars, I moved the refrigerators, and I'm halfway through painting my house. And the little trash in the yard, that's for bulk day Thursday. So I don't everything they told me to do, I've been doing it. And the only reason I've been slow by doing it because I've been having no funds.
Okay, well,
But
how-
as of now, my
what-
house is almost painted.
What
And
about-
everything else is waiting for the bulk man.
what about these vehicles parked on the lawn? Why is that still there?
I'm putting gravel down.
I know. Why is the vehicle still on the lawn? Can't be there. You see the picture of the vehicle? That's not allowed.
No, she's okay with that now.
I already
She
put
put
the
the
gravel
gravel
down.
down. She's okay. She complied that.
All right, so what is left, is my question then.
I'm painting the house halfway done. That's it.
The
And
violations that
garbage-
remain,
Beg pardon?
the violations that remain are 9305B, the landscape, where the tarps are down on the floor. 18-1 for the outside storage. 9-306, the house is not completed yet for the exterior. 9-280B, the building parts, the shutters that still need to be painted. And everything else is in compliance. So 3 were in compliance. So she complied on the 3 remaining.
Everything is, the house started painting on it yesterday. So everything should be done through painting. It's just it's slow on funds. And like I said, I had to put stucco on that house before I painted it. So I don't have no money for no fines and all of this stuff. I'm trying to get the house where it can be, approved, because like I say, I've been talking to this Miss Pronto. She comes by the house and I try to, sometimes I ask her something, she says she can't help me. So I don't know what to do. I'm just, like I said, I don't have the funds to pay somebody to do stuff real fast. So I'm getting everything done. Everything is like I say, only thing I gotta do is finish paint my house, and I started doing that yesterday. We started doing that yesterday, and that'll be finished in 2 days. Because I don't have any money for no funds for stuff that I'm already working on. I tried to talk to you, and you right up and down the street, and you park in front of my house, stressing me out. I'm 70 years old. I'm about to have a heart attack because she parking in front of my house and stressing me and my family out because they don't want to see me stressed out. She came over there on my birthday. I'm trying to enjoy my birthday with all the stuff going on. My best friend, my favorite cousin died two or 3 weeks ago, and I'm upset because I don't have the money, the $200 to go to Tampa. So I'm just stressed out.
Okay,
You know?
I understand. Take a breath, take it easy.
Your Majesty.
You still, yes.
I tried to help her out by giving an extra 3 months, number one.
I've been working on
Number
every
two,
excuse me.
Don't interrupt, please.
Number two, I had to post the house for the Massey hearing on her birthday. So I had to post the property that day. She wasn't there. So
Yeah, you
I
got
did
to
have
do
to
it.
post the
Excuse me,
property, and I
excuse me,
have to go
please
in
don't
front of the
interrupt.
house to do the inspections of the last 10 inspections that I had to do. So I have to do them in front of the house. It's where I have to take the pictures and add it to the case file.
So what am I being taught? Just impose the fine?
I've been working on everything.
Excuse me.
She has been diligently working on
Okay, well,
getting
I'm
it
willing
done.
to,
I
when
understand
she's in
her
compliance,
financial situation
Yep.
completely. I'm not
When
sure.
she's in compliance, I'm willing to look at I don't want the fines.
But it's not
I
in
don't want the
compliance.
fine money.
I can't afford it. I
I
don't have.
understand.
I'm fixing the house. I'm
Okay,
fixing the
well,
house.
that's what you need to concentrate on, fixing the house. So, I mean, leaving the fines to run, is that the idea for now?
That was the request, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm gonna leave these fines to run, but I'm willing to work with you to reduce them or even remove them.
I've been
if you
working
get them.
on this stuff ever
I
since
understand,
she
but
told
look,
me, so
you-
why am I being fined? I mean, like I said,
Because
I had to pay
you had 90,
$2,000
excuse
to have-
me, you had 90 days that she gave you to do this.
She gave me that, but she didn't
And you
give
got,
me no money.
excuse me, and you got some of it done, but there's more to do that has to be finished. When it's in compliance, all these things, the faster you get them done, the faster the fines stop, and you can bring it back to me, and I'll try to reduce the fines. I'd rather have you spend the money on fixing the property up than giving fine money to the city. I don't.
And Your Honor, just so we're clear, Mrs. Parker is clear, it's not just the painting. The pictures that were taken just a couple of days ago still show all of the
got stuff
illegal
outside.
outdoor storage.
There's all that stuff that's stored.
And that shouldn't
doesn't
cost
take
you
any
any
money.
money to
The boat.
remove.
The boat, it'll be out Thursday. It's waiting on the boat.
As soon as you
A
get
lot
it
of,
up.
yeah, I got stuff right there because I got waiting on the boat. I
Okay,
can't put it out
all
too
right,
early.
Right, no, you
Right there,
can't.
right there's a bunch of stuff right there, you can see it. Get that out there to the front for the bulk, that'll stop one of the things on this. Finish the painting, that stops the fines on the other one.
But I don't, like I say, I don't have no fines. I'm working on what you told me to work on.
Okay, but you had 3 months to do it, and you
Yeah,
got-
but I didn't have the money.
Excuse me, you didn't need the money to do it, all you need is money is to paint the house. That can't be that much money. The
Beg
other-
pardon?
Excuse me, the other stuff needs to be taking the bulk out to the front, which doesn't cost any money other than some time to get somebody to put it out front. So,
Yeah, I'm waiting till Thursday to do that. I can't.
That's okay, you wait till you get it done, but
They don't. Once a
I
month,
understand, but
the
then you
third
have to
Thursday
get,
of the month.
you have to get the stuff.
And if you got stuff out there, you gotta wait till the third Thursday of the month.
I agree with you, you can't put it out early, that's a problem. Put it out when you can put it out, and then she'll work with you. When it's in compliance, you come back and we'll see what we can do. But I can't do anything until everything is fixed.
Well,
Okay.
just like I say, I've been working on this stuff ever since y'all told me to work on it.
Okay,
And
well,
reason,
you-
like
so-
I said, when you don't have money, you can't work fast if you don't have money.
It sounds like you're making.
And it stresses me out that I don't have money.
Okay, well, you're making progress, so that's a good thing. And then at some point, it'll be done, and we can get this behind you. That's the plan.
Yeah, I'll have everything done by this week. By
Okay,
Friday,
that'll be
I'll-
great.
But I like I said, I can't be forced to pay no fines.
She's been
I
out
don't
there
have no
10
money.
times, I heard you. She's been out there 10 times already. That's about 10 times
But I've
too
been
many.
working on this stuff.
I
ever
heard
since
you
they
say
told
that.
me to.
Excuse
I
me.
thought that's the purpose.
Okay, that's what we're
Yes.
doing. It's, the fine is gonna be imposed, and when you get it cleaned up, she'll let me know. Right?
Yeah, it should come back for reduction.
Yes.
It's not a problem for me.
So, okay, I know I'm gonna be through this week, but what you said, explain to me, how definite time do I have to do this?
You're out of time. There's still fines running every day you don't get finished. I'm gonna
But they
work.
didn't tell me that the last time I was here.
Excuse me. I'm gonna work with you when you're done. If you get these things done, she will bring it back, and I'll see if I can reduce the fines substantially if you get it done. But you've already had 3 months. I don't want to hear you don't have money. We all don't have the money that we need to do certain things, okay? That's part of life.
When you don't have money.
Excuse
though-
me. You
Yeah.
have stuff that you have to put out as bulk trash. Do it when you can. Get those things done. All right? And then
Well, I
that'll,
have it done, but I don't have no money for no fines. I'm struggling. I'm
Okay.
struggling to live.
well, you're not alone. I want you to know that.
Well, I might not alone, but I don't need no fines.
Yeah, I understand that. You can get rid of fines by making the property compliant. Okay. Fines imposed. Thank you.
That's the end of our respondents. We'll take a quick break.
All right.